Make sure go to YouTube. Make sure the volume is down. I think we ready to rock here. You know, it's always that little lag there. All right, there we go. Yeah, we ready. All right, peace, power, and profit to the family. Peace, power, and profit. Uncle Jocelyn there. Hoping everybody having a great Wednesday evening. We're coming on doing the late night urban economic empowerment show by way of my channel today. Curtis the Dagger Squad scenario. Of course, typically matriarch that handles that, Sister Monica's busy, right? Just came off a phenomenal birthday, soiree, escapade herself. So she's catching up on some business. So we decided to go live on my channel, kind of filling in the gaps to give the family something to kind of feed off of and keep that energy alive in terms of what we do every Wednesday. So again, happy to have you guys in the building today. Anybody maybe watching on Twitter, I got that linked in today. Of course, Facebook, whatever. And then on the usual, YouTube page. And we appreciate you guys coming through today. Again, I know it's a little late, right? We're doing the 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock shing ding, but you know how this stuff go, right? It's never enough, time, hours or minutes in the day to get it all in. So we're gonna make the best of it. So we got a full panel, as you can see on the screen here. Got a lot of family popping up a little bit. If you guys do want to come onto the panel, I did put the link in the chat, in the back chat, on all the social media sites. So if you are passing through or whatever, you got some, got some input to add, you're welcome to come on and do so. Right? We welcome you guys here. Of course, this is our little community or our think tank, if you will, where we discuss all things financial literacy. And more importantly, we're going to speak about, definitely today's current event or topic of discussion in terms of the FOMC Fed minutes that came out today, which was very exhilarating for us markets, right? Why? Because we are already kind of waiting for this to happen, right? We was waiting for this, we were saving that bacon, right? We were saving that bacon. We was waiting for this moment. Why? Because we were already front running it. And we knew that at some point it was going to come into fruition, and markets, whether they were ready or not, they had to deal with that. And that's with the fact that the Feds are now becoming a little bit more, quote unquote, responsible. What I mean by responsible, well, they have to slow down on the monetary spigot, right? They're just printing money religiously like there's no tomorrow. At some point has to come to some kind of form of a ceasefire, right? If not a complete end, or ceasefire maybe for a little while, because it has definitely decimated a lot of the, the main street value of America in terms of small businesses and mom and pop scenarios like that. Again, Main Street America, the citizens as a whole, through the inflation, right? So inflation is kicking everybody in the teeth. And if you don't have that excess of income coming in, well, how do you make ends meet when the price of goods and services have gone up and your wages have not increased, right? yeah, good luck with that, right? So that's what we're dealing with now. So again, we are in a moment now where we've been basically at quarter basis point in terms of interest rates for like forever. And it's time to kind of pull back the reins on that. And again, try to balance out this, the fiscal nature of this country. Why? Because we've seen the rich benefit greatly off the Federal, Reserve handouts, if you will. I call it the greatest American money heist ever in American history. Literally, we have never seen nothing to this like, and where at least $7 trillion have ran onto the Federal Reserve balance sheet, and under that of maybe 3.5 years, three maybe 4 years. Like that typically doesn't happen in like 3 to 4 sitting presidents where they have excess in budget run on in terms of the federal balance sheet because they got policies, this, that, and the third. So this is something that's very new. All right. And maybe they was a grand scheme from the beginning, right? Maybe it was a 4D chess move. I don't know. But it seemed to be obvious that, the people who benefited from this the most are people who have basically own assets, that be equity and property, or, tangible assets in terms of equity stocks or bonds, or, even if you access the markets as a whole in terms of Forex or crypto. So we realized that at the end of the day, the name of the game is asset ownership. And if you're not a person who is, aspired to be an asset owner, then, when it comes to wealth creation or wealth building, you're going to be behind the curve, right? Either that or you have to start your own business, right? So we definitely got some business owners in the building today as well. So they can definitely speak to that when we get to that. And you guys can, you guys know how this stuff works, right? This is America, right? It's a corporation, it's a business, right? It ain't about your feelings, right? It ain't about what you think they should do. They're gonna do what they, are paid to do, right? Let me repeat that. They're gonna do what they are paid to do, not what you think they should do. And so, that's just a part of us of upgrading our business acumen so it could be more positive in making these kind of what they call monetary decisions in our own little ecosystem, right? Our own little castles and kingdoms and queendoms and all that, right? Wakanda, all that, right? All that. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about this evening here again on this, edition of the Urban Economic Empowerment Show. We do have again Sister Monica in the building, but she's busy. We got over Chris on the panel this evening, over Jeremy in the building, over Brandon in the building, our brother Sonny Boy, McCoy in the building, right? Over Sonny in the building. Our awesome friend, Dynamic 3D, the businessman himself, David Gerard in the house today. He's going to discuss a little bit of his success that he's having in the market, coming in, learning this thing, taking a route, the ropes and the reins, as they say, and expanding his horizon, right? Expanding his horizon. And we have also Miss awesome, illustrious Miss Angie in the building as well, right? So we got the family packed in. Again, you guys do have the link if you want to come on, the back panel, discuss anything that you may want to add to this bill, discussing the market, discussing financial literacy, discussing opportunity in life. We're welcome to have you. As we always doing here again, like I always like to say, PSA, we're not an echo chamber. We welcome all voices, right? All values of opinions, right? As long as you keep it kind of PG rated to that regard, right? We want to go overboard. But we do have young people that tune in sometimes and want to learn as well. So we want to give them the courtesy to learn this stuff without having to fight, all the craziness, right? So shout out to everybody as well. So just kind of going right into it, right? The market, was a firestorm of opportunity today. Depends how you look at it, of course, but for the most part, we do know that there's a big rotation that's happening right now. Something that we've been speaking about literally going on for months, right? Even a year out, we was already planning for this. Why? Because we knew the rotation was going to happen at some point where the money was going to move away a little bit from some of these, companies that have these big moats who are very secure because they got brand recognition, name recognition, all that. The Apples, the Googles, the Amazons, et cetera, et cetera. And some of that will start flowing back to some of these, undeserved companies, so to speak, if you want to call them that, right? Like Cheesecake Factory and all this stuff like that, like these value plays, right? Value stocks, right? Going to the stocks that will favor better in a high interest rate environment. Why? Because, due to their cyclical nature, they fare well with low, PE ratios where people can see these companies being, great assets to kind of build towards them becoming potentially a growth company one day, maybe, right? And so they can rotate some cash from the more, healthy stocks in terms of some of the growth stocks and into some of these more oversold plays, right? The value plays, right? So we're going to discuss a little bit of that as well, today as well on the show. So jumping right into it, just kind of opening it up, like we all do, like to kind of give a screenshot depiction of exactly what we saw today in the markets, right? What happened in the markets, if you will. That was so worth talking about, right? Because again, fireworks went off today, and again, the money was man, talking about let me pull that over so you can see it. Talking about when money was rotating today, did it, right? And it happened pretty much at a point where we was waiting on that news to really come out about the FOMC minutes, regarding the Fed's, decision making that they're going to do going forward, if they're going to kind of, speed up their policies to kind of, get the tapering process going a little bit faster, the rate hikes going a little faster, maybe annotating whether they're going to add 3 rate hikes as opposed to 2. All that stuff came out today. We do have some of that information down in the description box if you want to read it yourself. But I'm pretty sure if you follow the markets, you probably saw some notification come across your cell phone, laptop, computer, whatever that spoke about that, or that headline of the day that caused markets to get a little volatile, right? So yeah, definitely, worth discussing here this evening. So we back in the market out a little bit here on the 5-minute chart. You pretty much see that downfall right there, where that was nothing short of I don't know if you want to call it stellar, right? If you was contrarian trade the market, then of course you loved it, right? You benefited from it. Of course, I being one of those guys, right? I trade both sides of the market, right? I don't have this kind of fake patriotism where I only got to vote, or go long with the market, right? I got to be pro America when it comes to the markets and don't short the market, like Warren Buffett said. I bet against America. Well, sometimes America bets against us, right? And on the Urban Economic Empowerment Show, we know exactly who us is. So we want to make sure that we partake on any aspect of the markets, up or down, we're there. Right, we're definitely there. So again, we had a decline today, almost near 2%. I think at the low of the day, from the peak of the day to the low of the day, it was literally near 2% in terms of market degradation day on the S&P 500. So again, nothing short of fireworks, right, going off inside the market. So maybe we got something to look forward to going into the next earnings cycle, which kicks off literally in about near 2 more weeks. And we'll see exactly if there's any kind of, organic growth starting to kind of materialize on the back of all this cheap money that the Feds have supplied the market with over the past nearly 2 years. Let that marinate for a moment, right? It's been print money, whatever. So we're here now. So, now that we're here, we're going to make the best of it, right? We're going to do what we can to stay, positive in terms of our decision making. So that way we can continuously follow the money as we're positioned and trained to do, right? So due diligence obviously equals dollars, and that's the name of the game, right? And so we want to employ others to learn this craft. If you're new to this, take the time, that you have in your life to become more of astute, to be more prudent in your financial decision. And again, I tell you, this market's for everybody, right? You can teach your kids this. That's what's so great about it, right? Get those financial flashcards, get on the ground with them and play with them. Teach them the lingo, teach them, the terms and, all that stuff, the pictorial aspect of this and charts and technical analysis. Get them excited about it now. So that way, when they become, literally our ages, right, they'll be masters of the universe, right? When it comes to this stuff, right? Literally, they'll be like, killing it, right? Because this is applied knowledge that you learn. You get better, with time, right? It's like fine wine, so to speak, right? So that's important. All right, so that's it. So with that being said, again, today, if you was positive, whether you was bullish early on, hoping the market will kind of, turn out to be, a breakout to kind of eclipse yesterday's high price of 477.55 based upon the Fed minutes, him, as I say, tilting towards that dovish perspective that he's always done. The odds were in your favor today. Why? Because we kind of knew that he was already, coming out with a hawkish swing, meaning he was going to be very, strict and focused on reining in some of the, I guess the euphoria that's been in markets where everything seems to be a up, hunky dory kind of perspective where, stocks only go to the moon, by the dip, the market never kind of falls no more than 1%. It's just been crazy, right? It's been a madhouse, right? We benefited from it like anybody else, but responsible people do have to, step up sometimes and let the, and get this market under control. So today's pullback was nothing shy of that. It was kind of really orchestrated, whether you took heed or you didn't, or you kind of stayed, bullish and, wanting to go to the upside after you seen it kind of, hovering around that 477.55 and necessarily couldn't really break, really above it. That was another signal in itself. Because again, it just showed the resistance was, clear, right? It was just clear here, right? Coming into, pre-market, even, to the point where, throughout the day, intraday session, where it started to kind of show weakness here and kind of trended off a little bit here before the minutes came out. And then when it happened, guess what? Fireworks, right? It was like fireworks, gangbusters, so to speak, right? And but yeah, clearly you can see how it just kind of downtrended before it happened. So it wasn't no secret here, right? So I was just, playing the market like, like gangbusters today. I was all over the market, right? I was trading about 4 accounts today, but I was busy. But well deserved and well worth it because we cleaned the clock a little bit. We got us some gains out this thing, and I'm happy to report that a lot of people, in our circles, they did well too, right? And that's what's so great about this, because it's a positive, thing when you see other people making money too. You get excited, right? I know I do. All right. So without further ado, again, just kind of letting you guys know a little bit of the backdrop of the market today, again, before we get into a lot of the details. If you guys got questions, make sure that you sound off in the chats. Come on to the panel if you want. Maybe you can discuss your trade live. You got a chart you want to put up. You got a stock you want to talk about. You're welcome to do so. A Forex ticker, a pair, crypto, whatever. We're going to talk about it either way. All right. So, with that being said, just kind of let you know, when you kind of, waiting for things to unfold, right? You kind of playing your cards tight. You want to make sure that you always keep what they call an ace in the hole, right? That ace in the hole will definitely save you through, a lot of, especially on the urban side of things, right? You know, when you clutch, right? Right, you got to be clutch, right? You got to be in your clutch moment, so to speak. So, you know, nothing shy of being able to realize that, so that way, you know, you can definitely live to fight another day. Why? Because and if you're overly leveraged, right, and overly optimistic, when you know there's a mountain of headwinds that are out there. You know, of course, we had, you know, the new virus, you know, variant came out the other day. All right, it's called what? IHU, right? Go figure, right? IHU, right? I don't know why they named it that, but it's called IHU. So, you know, that was another headwind on top of other things that we've been dealing with. So it just seemed to be a compounding effect, but the markets have been, again, Teflon done, right? They shrugged that stuff off. So again, so shout out to those who stayed patient and disciplined with their game plan, because it requires that you do remain, you know, poised and know how to stay, you know, in the clutch when it matters most. So with that said, we're gonna open this thing up with a nice little, you know, cute video that we like to do over here to have fun, right? Wrote a song about it, hit go, and after that, we're gonna get this party started. All right, thank y'all for tuning in. Hold up 1 second.
The bar raising, we keep moving it up. Ain't no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I got faith restored, why you pushing the brakes? I ain't full of myself, boy, I'm full of mistakes. I came from humble and roots, I'm here to stand and deliver. Had no one gassing me up, except the man in the mirror. I used to work on my handles, and now his handles are liquor. I write these songs in a dark room, the candle will flicker. I stay practicing heavy, for when the game's on the line. It's like over and over, I run the plays in my mind. I'm a psycho, I'm taking my time. Rushing perfection is a dangerous crime. You gotta give it and take it. That's what you do till you make it. I had to roll with the punches and take the hits from the flagrants. I'm saying the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was falling, had me stalling. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line. I know I operate from a higher place. Wait, some decisions don't dry erase. I'm doing what I can to fuel the flame like a fireplace. To make a bunch of money, buy my mama a fireplace. We make incredible songs to celebrate and get mad lit. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I'm like Brad Pitt. My homies say I live a life, yeah, just a tad bit. Learning how to move in this rap shit. I told them that the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line. I know.
All right, there's our PSA for the day, right? We got to cut up over here. Y'all know, like, do the be ourselves and cut up a little bit. So we want to throw that together for you a little bit. You know, get your creative, you know, smile side going to yourself, so we can get to talk about some good game here in terms of market reality and just market, you know, information in general, as we like to do over here. So again, shout out to everybody, tuning in and coming in. Over in the back chat, I see got Brother Rams in the building, over Divine in the building. Our family, everything in the house I see you as well, over. Right. And again, all the family that's on the panel. All right. I saw Shanice in the building today, right? So Shanice Brown in the house, right? Shout out to my econ, right? My econ in the building, right? Happy to have her here as well as Brother Matthews as well. I see him in the building. What's going on, over? All right, peace, power, profit to you as well. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna open this panel up to everybody to kind of, just hear from everybody, right? What did they see, in the market today? What's, captured their attention? How was they able to, analyze things, the news that may have came out, did they have already, positions in play? What was their strategy behind that? And just, speaking about this, this game in general, right? That keeps us excited about it, right? As we like to, say, or as it is known, as you see here, right? Only the game can teach you the game, right? So Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest traders ever in American history, right? He was a speculator stock trader, as you see his little stats up here, or just a little bit of his biography. But he has a lot of quotes that surround the market that everybody kind of look to still to this day, right? This is before Warren Buffett, right? This is way before Warren Buffett time, right? This was the guy. He was the Buffett of his time. And some would say still to this day, right? Between him and Jim Simon, right? Some of you guys may be familiar with Jim Simon, who owns Renaissance Holding Company, right? These were some really, really awesome traders and investors, who a lot of you guys may or may not know why, because Warren Buffett gets all the attention, right? Well, guess what? Warren Buffett used to learn from this guy, right? Jesse Livermore, right? Make no mistake about it. So you might want to look him up a little bit, want to get a little bit of his, his little swag or whatever. Then you'll know some, who to go to, right? And there's many others too. We spoke about it before, but just kind of letting you guys know, again, only the game can teach you the game. And so moments like this is great. That experience is the greatest teacher here, right? So we love that. So without further ado, guys, again, if anybody do want to come on the panel, again, the link is out there, and we're welcome to have you. All right. So yeah, so far as the market today, guys, and I know you guys were watching it, everybody on the panel here, what stood out? What stood out the most to you guys today? Anybody got anything particular that they that stood out to them, that captured their attention? Any kind of trades or what? We love to hear from you guys. So what do you guys think today? Anybody?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that last 3-4 hours of the market really stood out to me too.
Last 3 hours of the market. All right. So let me go on and crank this. I'm gonna get on the big chart here in a minute. Let me go and take this thing over to trading view so we can not have to strain our eyeballs, right? Got to get your bifocals out tonight, right? Get them bifocals out, boy. Them Coke bottle glasses, right? So we can go on and dissect this market here, because again, it's just a part of our part of what we do here. So let me get over here to trading view here. And so as you can see here, let me blow that up. As you can see, man, the market was just, hey, look at that pattern, right? And this is on the 1 hourly chart. So we're going to pull the daily up in a minute. But again, you guys want to discuss this, any part of this that, that you was probably watching. I know you're speaking about, the last 3 hours yourself, over Brandon. And again, as you can see, those last 3 hours was nothing but game bustle, right? So of course, go ahead. Explain what you saw here, Over.
No. I'm just saying definitely 100%. Normally when news like that come out from the FOM meeting, the markets usually don't tend to move like that drastically, but that's when I put out that little clip it, or that little snip of that the repo about not doing it anymore. I was like, oh snap, okay, so we have something here. And coincidentally, it exactly touched the 200-day moving line.
You see that, right? To the T.
Right, to see. I'm
right?
like, ain't no way in the world it hits right there on purpose. So to me, it looks like it was pre-planned.
Right. And then more so the fact that, if you guys are not familiar with how markets are, definitely, how they are flooded with, liquidity to make moves, because a lot of the, the high frequency algorithms that trade the market, basically robots, AI, right? AI technology now is trading our markets. So, whether people like it or they don't, one thing it does add, as an element to markets is what that kind of, aspect of uncertainty, right? The ambiguity of liquidity, right? Because they have to control a lot of the price action to keep traders either interested or keep the markets moving in a way where they can, the hedge funds and fund managers can kind of plan around, strength and weaknesses, right? You need liquidity, right? You need volatility, right? Because markets only move when there's volatility or some level of uncertainty in markets, right?
Right.
And so that last 3 hours, like you talk about it, you guys see it clear as day, man. Look at the size of the candle. Now, this on the hourly chart, mind you, but look at the size of those candles, right? That wasn't by mistake, right? And it bounced off the 200-day moving average, like he said here, it was not by mistake. Right? It literally came down to it to the T. Dang near maybe, I mean, a small, tiny little wick down there, barely little space.
Would you say? No, I was gonna say, would you say it kissed it, then jump back up?
It did exactly what it did. It came down because once it settles here after hours, it never really reflects exactly the intraday action, right? You had a little slippage that they called it, where it actually came down and kissed it, and then it backed off of it here, as you can see here, and it closed at 468.39, right? But I mean, look, because we had this line here up, we drew this line here, I don't know, last week maybe, if not before that, this little line here, this little gun line we call it here, this resistance line. And just to show you that we won't make this stuff up, right? We won't do what they call after the fact hindsight technical trading. We had this line drawn like last week, right? And look what it did right here before it broke down. See that wick right there? Did it not basically kiss that wick? That wick kissed that line there, that resistance line, and then it threw up the deuces and rolled up out of there. Right? Couldn't make this stuff up. Right, you see it literally breaking down until that level of what support, right? Because everything above that line was support. After it broke support, because y'all know I use the very basic rule, right? If a candle can't clear a resistance or support line, at least for 5 minutes, 1 5-minute candle or 5 1-minute candles, right? Don't get too giddy. You need that confirmation. Wait till that 5-minute candle clear. And literally, of course, this is on the hourly chart, so it really doesn't do it justice, but you can adjust that thesis in terms when you're trading different candles or time frames the same way. Here it was just very clear, right? You see the hourly here, and then you see this hourly here where it just broke down at that resistance point, closed below it. Obviously, that's why it closed red, right? Let you know it closed basically down at 475.86, right? And it opened up above that line about around about 477.13, right? Had a high of 477.18, so no more than 5 pennies off the opening that it kind of, tried to make a move to get back above it and it failed, right? After that, it was lights out. So if you are a technical trader, you understand that that's weakness, right? That's a point of, again, if you will, where the bears are taking control in this moment, right? They're trying to push the market down. In this case, the S&P 500, which is, synonymous to the market. And after that, it was lights out. So if you was a smart technical trader, right, waiting to kind of, saving them puts, you were saving them puts, right? Here was your chance to make sure you get into it. Why? Because you had the least, path of resistance, or the door was literally at your back, right? You had very good risk management here, risk mitigation, because you had a defined line. You had, a breakdown above that point there. Number one, you see the blue line also trading right there parallel to it. That's a 20-day moving average, right? So major, moving averages, major moving averages are definitely, marquee signals that we watch, right? So again, it lost that magnet, right? Moving average at like magnet, it pulled away from the magnet, and after that, it was just dripping. You came back tested it here to make sure it wasn't full gold. That's why you had this big wick right here, clear as day. You see it there. It came back and back tested that opening point over here. It failed. And again, if you was patient and methodical and technical in your trading and discipline, you would have known right there, okay, it's time to buy me some puts here. Right, because this was like 30 minutes going into that 2 o'clock time frame with the FOMC minutes were going to come out. You were already playing into that news. Now, of course, it was still a 50-50 scenario in terms of how the market was going to go. But even though the market was always showing you signals of pulling back, I would say the bears had more of the market, at their back at this point, and it was up for the bulls to turn it, right? Because we kind of knew that he was going to have to speak of a hawkish turn, language, right? Speaking to that hawkish terminology, so to speak. And lo and behold, it fulfilled that destiny or that prophecy, so to speak, if you want to call it that. And the market is kind of downhill from there. So we're talking about a matter of 477 all the way down to basically 468.31. Let that marinate. That happened in a matter of how many hours? Again, Oprah Brandon told you the last 3 hours, right? So you saw literally almost a 10-point drop in 3 hours. Now we're talking about a delta, on the back end on a 0, days to expiration type of trade in terms of Wednesday, because y'all know contracts, if you're trading options, should expire, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you was, able to have day trades available, of course, if you didn't have, you don't have to deal with the PDT as a whole or cash account, this was a home run trade. on the back end of the day, where you could have literally made, you know, $600-700 real easy just off this little pullback in the last 3 hours. If you just bought in the money, you know, 477 strike put at that point there where it failed and hit resistance here, you could have made easy $600-700 real quick. Just with the delta alone in that perspective on the last little, you know, 3 hours of the market. See, it's that kind of stuff. And then those contracts were basically dirt cheap because it was, you know, based on the back end of the day, right? So, you know, he's already dealing with theta and all that. And then at that point, you know, that aspect of the premium was kind of already, you know, set up where you can just basically buy a gang gun real cheap and then to kind of play the binary event of the Federal Open Committee, you know, Market Committee meeting. And that's how this stuff works. If you're just being strategic, that's how you can make a ton of money just out of nowhere. I guarantee those contracts at the point, I think I looked at them because I bought some myself. I can't remember right off here, but they were no more than maybe like $60, $70, maybe $80, somewhere around there, a contract for in the money 477 strike puts at that hour of the market. And so we're talking about $60, $70, $80, whatever, give or take. I could be wrong by a little bit. That could have easily turned into about $600 to $700 just on that downhill move, and it's a binary event in 3 hours worth of trading. Somebody let that marinate for a moment. Couldn't make this stuff up. 60, 70, $80, you know, we'll even say 100 turned into 600, 700 in 3 hours. Again, find me a better opportunity where you can make that kind of money. Just, you know, push the button, watching the screen, being disciplined, you know, having some understanding of what's going on. And then, you know, you doing this on the fly. Because that's essentially what happened. Essentially, that's what happened here. Right. So again, just more of why we stress, you know, learn the game, be patient, you know, understand that's a marathon, not a sprint. So you could be very properly positioned to take care what needs to be done in terms of your discipline to trade something like this, to understand the rules of engagement, the risk mitigation that, you know, that it requires, right? The management, you know, in terms of, you know, what you're risking here, whether it's a good opportunity or not, because it clearly proved to be a good opportunity if you offer to trade the market to the downside. Right. So very exciting. Again, just, man, we just crushed the market today. A lot of people were, you know, hit me up, you know, in other little rooms I was in, they were like, man, yeah, I crushed it. I mean, a lot of money was made today and some money was lost, right? You know, there's always a flip side to this, right? Somebody making money, somebody losing, right? So, you know, that's just, you know, the nature of the business. But outside of that, man, the S&P 500 definitely, you know, really showed, you know, a straight line value of resistance. Literally, you know, after we hit the all-time high up here near 480, the market's just been trying to play into the ideal of this new year, new me, Santa Claus rally, you know, whether it's going to continue, was it, you know, if it was over. Again, markets was already starting to say, well, you know what, we got the Fed meeting coming up where they can speak about the month of December in terms of, you know, all that, you know, that we kind of knew that it was going to do in terms of, you know, increasing the tapering. They removed another 30 billion from the market in terms of the federal policy. And, you know, for what it's worth, you know, are they really going to go forward with the rate hikes, right? Lift off, as they like to call it. So somebody got scared, either the algos or some of these fund managers. Somebody got scared because the body dippers did not show up. These three candles here are indicative of them not showing up, right? Now, in terminology, in terms of market lingo, in terms of what these candles will represent in succession of pattern here, they would call these what candles? I don't know if y'all know that in terms of the hour chart. What would they call these three candles back to back here? Anybody want to take a stab at that? What would they call these three candles back to back in succession? What kind of developing candle pattern is this here? It's kind of derogatory too, right? You got to throw that out there, right? But y'all know how the market is, right? Anybody want to take a...
You talk about the black crow?
Yep. So they call them the three
black crows.
The three black crows. On the hourly chart, that's exactly what this was. Three black crows. Right. So definitely a very bearish signal. So anytime you see three black crow scenario, it's a bearish signal, right? Yeah. And so again, a lot of this was just, you know, choppy, sideways, even going back basically, you know, on the 27th of December, you know, kind of leading, you know, after that Christmas, so-called Christmas bump up rally that everybody was waiting on, just kind of putting the market in perspective here. Let me crunch this down here. You can see exactly what we're talking about here, where essentially you were kind of, you know, making, you know, the typical moves that we've been seeing the market do all year in terms of higher lows, right? Kind of, you know, finding a place of support, bouncing off of it and trying to trend higher, but definitely getting off this line right here, this resistance line right here, back around 470, and now you had a mapped at another 10-point move. That's how the market typically moves in a weekly perspective. There's a lot of bullish sentiment. Still, the market is kind of moves within what they call $10 windows, right? $10 increments sometime. And so that became the support, right? 470. Everything above that was what they call the Christmas rally, gravy, whatever. And so we came back and eclipsed that today, took all that back and then some. It came all the way down to 20-day moving average, right? All the way down to the 200 moving average and what? Bounced off there. Now, there was a small air pocket there too. So right, that little gap right there, it closed that gap. So we can officially say that the gap has been closed. Now, everything that happens from this point on, either be a bullish move to kind of turn the market and send it higher to take out the all-time high, or we're going to sputter here at this point going forward and maybe come down and test this trend line here. As you see, I got this, descending trend line here, coming down and even to, the end of the week. Say that, end of the week ends on the 7th. If, in what they call best case scenarios, if you trade the market to the short side, you could probably, see the market pull back, as much as maybe 462, 463. Now that's best case, right? Now we don't know if the market gonna do that or not, right? That's why this is a speculative entertainment kind of, commutation here, right? But there's possibility in there if the market shows weakness. Outside of that, we may do a U-turn and bounce, try to go back out, take out some of that old, those people who relinquish their position and stop loss raising this, that, and third, and get back inside the linear regression band here, right? At least on the hourly chart. Now on the daily chart, it's going to look a little bit somewhat, different. Why? Because it was obvious here on the daily what had happened. What do y'all see here on the daily chart to show you that this downtrend move was obvious that it was going to happen? Or at least the burden of proof was on the bulls to take it high at that point. Why? What do you see here on this chart here? Anybody?
It didn't obey the regression band.
Or that it did, right? See right here at the top?
Yeah.
It hit clear resistance there. It'd be no different. You had the Bollinger Bands up, Ikimoku Cloud, the Helsinki, all this stuff, Fibonacci. You clearly see the resistance here. Why? Because you see how it wicked up above that, but never could penetrate above that. That's right. A well-known defined area that the algos themselves even respect. Hold on, this is the wrong chart. I'm tripping. I'm like, why this thing showing that? Because this don't supposed to look like that. Now I know I look this thing different. I'm on the day like, what is this thing? Hold up. SPY. Forgive me. Let me go to the real chart. All right. On the daily, I had put in Dominion. I'm looking at Dominion. All right. Because I was like, hold up, where my lines at? This ain't right here. Hold on. I know I ain't crazy now. Here we go. Now, again, more defining the same perspective here. I thought they had flipped the chart on me. I was like, man, what they done? They do that sometimes too. I've seen that happen a couple of times with SP 500 when they had like a dividend payout. It'll move the chart, right? It'll equate that to the new money that it came out, and your lines be off. Right. So, but yeah, you clearly see here in this line that we had put in literally a week ago, exactly what we talked about falls that resistance. Right. When it broke below it here, it was just a straight moonshot to the downside, right? On the daily, right? Clearly at a point where, the 200 move, in this case, of course, well, away from it, because we're talking about the, the SP 500 now. It will look, 200 move down here. In the real world scenario, we'll be trading around about 433. Now, that's when you see the 200 moving average this far down. That means technically, by way of this, what they call forward valuation value in terms of the SP 500, it's supposed to be trading at 433 as of today, at or around. That's just technical. That's a pure technical outlook. But we know that we're not. Why? Because we're trading on a lot of what? Liquidity from the Feds, a lot of what? By the dip juice, right? Whatever you want to call it. And the market just, kind of wild, be savage, euphoric right now. So, this little pullback here off the resistance off this line again is just another indication that, if we get fortunate, we can get the market to kind of maybe come down and kiss that 20-day moving average, in a great world, right? That would have happened. But if not, we still take what we got for today. All right. So the next step will be whether or not we can bounce here, trend back to the upside, maybe take out this bar here, right? This 482 here, at or around some point like that. If not, we'll just kind of trend sideways to the next big, news reel come out, and we'll go from there. All right. So as of now, yeah, markets are definitely, backpedaling a little bit. And again, money was made today in a great fashion, to be exact, because this downtrend here, rather you get like a 9-point, 10-point drop inside of the intraday, literally on the back end of the day, where you had the last 3 hours of the market where you have such a pullback like this. That's just, oh man, I tell people, this is the moment where you be waiting for these moments. You be waiting. Because again, 60, 70, 80 bucks, $100 could easily turn into $500, $600 like overnight, like literally, in hours, I should say, not even overnight. And if you multiply that through your buying multiple contract, then you can do the math on that. So you buy 5 contracts, spend $500, then you already pocketed what? Right? About $2,000 off $500 in about 3 hours worth of work. Let that marinate for a moment. All right. So that's why we get excited about this stuff. Because again, once opportunity presents itself, if you're ready, locked and loaded, guess what? You can get your ticket punched, right? And benefit off of it. All right. So that's the SP 500 again, roughly down about 2% from peak to trough on the day. You see it closed out around about 1.92% on the daily. Again, from peak to trough, it was obviously over 2%. But that's fine. We'll take what we can get because the market rarely have these kind of days. Why? Because again, still a lot of people who are optimistic about our marketplace. Why wouldn't they be, right? Because a lot of these other people, these foreign nationals in their respective country, they don't have that level of liquidity that we have. And they love trading our markets for that reason, because we have better companies, this, that, and the third, quote unquote, whatever. All right. So they like, this was definitely a great, binary event, gravy day. If you benefited, shout out to you all. All right. So yeah, we're going to move around a little bit. So of course, if you got any question with SP 500, let us know. We'll definitely help you out there. What's going on, family? Peace, Smooth. I see in the building. Over $1 Will in the building. I see in the building, man. Let me get that link, man, just in case you're able to come on as well. $1 Will. Anybody else that want to come on, there's a link. What's going on, family? Brian Schwartz in the building. What's going on? Peace, power, profit to you. What's going on, Jack Ole as well? I see you in the building. Jack Ole in the building, right? Our Russian family in the building. I can't speak no Russian, but I'm just gonna highlight it right there. NH Cap, right? NH Cow, right? I forgot, whatever. Right, my Russian a little dusty right now. Now, what's going on as well is to you as well, right? What's going on, Open Rams? I see you in the building. Peace, power, profit to you as well, right? Peace, power, and profit to you as well, right? So yeah, so that's what the SP 500 look like today. So again, we cleaned the register today on the SP 500.
Obo.
Yeah, go ahead, Ober. Go ahead, definitely.
Yeah, you got that on the Weeble.
This is on Trading View. Trading View.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, y'all know how we do this stuff too. Because if you want to, let me get the link. Because y'all know we use Trading View, for charting. You don't have to use it, but we use it
on the Trading View. Can you use a Fibonacci sequence on there?
Use all that. This is, but you probably you still learning because you still coming around to a lot of these different little websites too. But Trading View is like the go-to place for all traders. Like everybody use Trading View at some point, right?
Yeah.
Because
I used to use it when I first started, but after I started betting with money, I just I don't know. I guess I dodged it.
Oh,
can anybody hear me?
You got work. Go at work for you. What's going on over Chaos? I see you in the building. You got to go at work for you. Yeah, man. Go ahead. Go over. Go ahead, Chaos.
You know when I asked that question a few months ago.
You breaking up over. You breaking up over.
Okay, are we good? Is my audio good?
Okay, go ahead now. Go ahead. Go now. Go now. Mm-hmm.
Wait, if I break up, I'm gonna have to this. All right, let me say it clear. You remember the conversation we had about the Cash App, PayPal, and they trying to the Fed stepping in now from 10K to dropping down to under 1,000. You remember that conversation we had? If you want to repeat the question, if I'm clear enough. That sound clear?
We talked about the something dealing with fintech. I know that, but yeah, go ahead and repeat if you could. That way we get refreshed.
Yeah, because I'm noticing now circling from the social media internet how now if most people that's getting money from other people or maybe investing in crypto, whatever they're doing with their money now if it goes through a certain amount, then they watch it, monitor now. Then they have to pay tax on that if it goes for a certain amount.
Yeah, we were kind of speaking on that. Oh man, I want to say maybe a month and a half ago, and I'm saying that because it actually was a policy that came out under Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen put out a watchdog report to the IRS that now they want to start watching people if any value over $500, did any kind of Cash App, PayPal, crypto, they're gonna watch that. They're trying to get the artists to start watching.
Wait,
that,
before I continue, African, I'm not infringing. Bring this up again. I hope not about it. Ask this question again because we did talk about it. But I don't know if infringing. Bring this up again for those that's not familiar with it. You're cool with that? Answering this question.
No, go ahead. No, this is our urban economic empowerment moment. So it's open floor.
Okay.
Floor,
All right.
floor.
Continue then. I'm listening. Continue. As I don't want to be annoyed. Bring this question up. We did talk about months ago, and now I sit back and see what's going to happen. You get me? And now I'm noticing circling again, and it makes me wonder because I'm not heavily invested yet. But like I said, one thing I'm making a conscious decision now is going to start investing in some of these things. You get me? And try to stay on it. Then what I did like 2 years ago, if you remember, I did invest in stocks one time and I let it sit, but I did not understand when was the right time to buy. When's what right time, if anything, to pull out if necessary. And
right, entry and exit.
So,
just understanding the market. See that why we've been
Well,
telling y'all been following up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say if he create an IRS account, he can be able to
RA.
do
Oh, you my RA.
I mean, yeah, I said IRS.
You
IRA account. He could do his trades through there, and basically it without being taxed in the same way, and still
I'm not sure what RA is. What is that, like a form or something?
You talk about Roth IRA?
It's a Roth.
It's Roth. Roth account. Where it's like kind of like it's like a 401k that meets a trading platform where you have complete control over your investments or contributions that you do for the retirement value, where they won't tax you for any kind of gain value or what they call distribution of buying and selling the liquidity of some of the stocks that you have in it in terms of their portfolio, right? They'll give you the ability to kind of grow or retirement or wealth through that that platform, right? They call it contribution, but we can definitely break down that again. We talked about it before, but we can go into depth in it one day too, where we can really break down the power of the IRA account. Now, if you've been in the game for a while anyway, meaning people who've been in the game for a while, most people who've been in well over 2-3 years already have an IRA, and you can have many, right? You can't, it's not like you can only get one. You can have one in Robinhood, they allow Webull. You can have one in TD Ameritrade, Tasteworks, whatever you use, right? You can have multiple ones. And now what they've done, they've even expanded the use case whether the IRA. Now you can even trade options through a Roth account, where before they used to kind of limit just buying stocks only. Now you can also trade options through these Roth accounts as well. So again, a really, really great way. It's kind of like a cash account basically in the day, right? You're just trading purely with the money you put in, like a savings account that has the ability to now gain interest on it through leveraging these equity assets, right? In the markets, right? So it's really good. It's good to have it. So we'll talk about that too. We'll pick a show when we just go directly in on a lot of these different accounts, different strategies you use with account, so we can really help bring some understanding to how to utilize it.
Well, to follow up what you're trying before I interrupt you about the PayPal, Venmo, and it's funny with those now, they got like a 1099 now. Some of those what do you call it, applications now from Venmo.
They've always any brokerage app or account is rated in 1099. Right? You're self-employed. You basically experiencing capital gain tax and interest. You being a business owner, you're running an online business essentially, right? Now, unless you take it to the next level in LLC, of course, now you can really take it to the next level because you get a chance at that point. If you're not trading with at least $25,000 account, which voids you've had to deal with the PDT, you are covered to write off any kind of aspect of losses. Above 25,000, under 25,000, the IRS is only going to grant you $3,000 that you can write off in losses. So again, you get a chance to even write your losses off utilizing the market, right? Up to $3,000 each calendar fiscal year, right? So if you say you had a bad year and you lost, let's say $5,000, well, you get to write at least 3,000 of it off that fiscal tax season, and then you can still float that other 2,000 into the next tax season.
Hey, right quick, is that through an LLC or is that just through a traditional Roth?
That's just regular trading. That's regular trading. You granted that under the IRS and the SEC under the FINRA laws. You're granted up to $3,000 in tax loss harvesting. You get every fiscal calendar year. If you have at least, if you have minimum than a $25,000 account, you get to be covered up to $3,000 in losses every year. And whatever, if you lost more than $3,000, you can carry the other overage of that loss into the next tax season and still write it off. Right. So We spoke about tax loss harvesting here several times, but again, you guys might want to go plug that into your Googles real quick and pull it up, guys, if you're new to that. People in the back chat. That way you have that near you in terms of understanding the how that works, tax loss harvesting, and just the taxation within capital gains that you get as a sole proprietor trader, meaning if you're not connected to any kind of firm, you're not a accredited broker. Of course, they have different laws for accredited brokers, obviously, right? But you still get that $3,000 to write off if you don't have at least $25,000 in a trading account. If you have above that, of course, you can write off any amount of losses at that point, right? Because now they consider you, a stakeholder, asset holder of a certain amount, right? Like they kind of consider $500 like the minimum of a felony or a federal value of money that they, the feds have to watch, right? Yeah, so that's good, So we'll talk about that in detail. So I'm happy y'all brought that up again because we spoke about it once before, but I know recently Sister Monica asked about a TSP account, right? She was on a trip and some of her, sister girls, they had, they were speaking about, I guess, their TSP, right? And the different funds that come in a thrift saving plan, right? Some of you guys may be familiar with the thrift saving plan. They call it TSP for short, whatever. But they have different funds, like a mutual fund, like a fund, a B fund, or a C fund. Some of them are just different values of stock that may be a little bit more volatile than others, right? Some will have low betas, they're more controlled, very low, speculative value, and some of them are a little bit more aggressive in terms of tech stocks or value plays where you can kind of move your money into your risk level that you really want to endure. Right, so we'll talk about that as well. So the thrift saving plan, the TSP, and some of the funds as well on another show. Right, so good point. I'm happy y'all brought that up, right? Because I know we were supposed to talk about that at some point.
They got you on your A game tonight, over.
Oh, always. What that we're supposed to do over here, man. That's why they call it what? The Communiversity, right? Urban Economic Empowerment Show for a reason, right? We got to help each other stay sharp, right? So each one teach. I just say what? Still sharp and still.
Well, it's funny because they want lower to that amount. It's like, doesn't the average American can't save $500? And I'm thinking, maybe that's why they came up with that number.
But I'm happy you brought that up. Why? Because going all as 2020, because of the pandemic, when they did a lot of those Pew Research reports, they're trying to figure out what the savings account looking like in America. Obviously, as we got further into the pandemic and people couldn't go to work, right? Yeah. It was equated that I think around third quarter of 2020 that they say the average American didn't have at least a minimum, didn't even have $1,000 in their bank account. And this were people who had bachelor degrees and some people who even had master degrees.
Yeah. Now
couldn't make this stuff up, right? That was just raw data. That not me throwing out a number. That's what the previous report said.
But I knew that already. So I'm thinking,
a lot of us
that would make it makes more sense. Now you put more pressure on the American people. Say, listen, I'm going to keep taking more and more and more. You know what I'm saying? Screw that. And here's my thing. I'm African. I heard this from Erica Williams that they can't get these big corporations. They said, the hell with it. Let me get the American people because these people are getting by. I can squeeze off them. I know most of them are getting paid like that by digitally. Making money hand from fist digitally, where everything's tracked digitally.
Well, if you got a job, of course, that's it. But because of course, if you're unemployed, whatever you had that you was waiting in terms of stimulus to move through, because that was like a dime holding up a dollar. That's how the American government moves. They move very slow and methodical, like cold syrup, right?
Yeah,
it makes no sense, like how you're paying into a system, obviously that's supposed to have your best interest in mind, so they can move in an expedited fashion to take care of you when you need them most. How well thought out you were thought, this country is set up in terms of a system, right, or organization, a system of logistics. And it turned out they moved slower than snails on Sunday. Couldn't make this stuff up. And I would say it's purposely. Why? Because again, anytime the government feel like they have to kind of cut the check to the American citizen that fund their needs, their goals, their dreams, their hopes, their wealthy partners' pockets, they don't want you to get used to or accustomed to what? Receiving that kind of basically your own money back. So they got to make it sound they got to go through all this pontificating, filibustering, and pandering in Congress to make you feel like, we had to really put our heads together and come up with a great way to make sure we can give you your money back. Like, make that make sense to me.
So make no fucking sense. Say, I'm giving back your money. I'm gonna take some, but I'm gonna give back your money.
Well, the reality within that is that now we're starting to realize, like, we've been beating the drum on this for quite a while. This is why you have to have other irons in the fire. This is why you have to be a student of realizing that to become philanthropy literate, means that you have to have multiple streams of income in or around your existence every day. You need to have access to that because you can't depend on corporate America and the government to fund your life. Like that ship been sailed, right? And if you still under that I don't know, that fog or that delusion or that program or that brainwashing, then I'm sorry for you. Why? Because we realized in 2020 that the greatest American heist theft that ever happened in American history in terms of the Federal Reserve helicopter money that they did for us to fight COVID was no more than a smoke screen so they could print all this money and transfer that money to the wealthy. Guess who caught that tab though? Guess who got to pay that bill?
You mean the bag? The American people. We got
exactly
the
taxpayers.
Every day they keep
your future generation. Your future generation gonna get that bill taxed on to their life.
Oh yeah.
And these boomers gonna go to the grave with all this money, and they can't take it with them, of course, but they're gonna try, right? They're gonna find a way to time machine if they could. But this is how America works. So if you're still playing the game from a place where you got time to wait, or at some point, you may want to get serious about learning this, then I'm sorry to tell you, not that you still won't be successful later down the road because it is a marathon, not a sprint. But I'll be the first one to tell you, you sat there and watched a lot of people came into the game literally last year alone with no knowledge of this at all. And they was able to still squeak out opportunity and gains in this. Void of the government, right? Look at AMC, look at GameStop. We can name many, right? Look what Tesla did. Look what you couldn't make this stuff up. Again, AMC was like what $2, back in around the spring of 2020, and it went all the way to like 70.
$2? It was what?
$2 a share, and it went all the way to 70. And GameStop went to 500. Y'all were there.
But it's funny. I know a lot of people that tried to cash out. They had a hard time using certain trading.
Well, that was during the moment when they had all that liquidity stuff. But that was a one-off event. That wasn't like it was another.
But you had to understand Afurakan. That's when you have to know when to actually pull the fuck out. Because
I wouldn't say that. It's just that was a moment where nobody was expecting that to happen. That's why I was saying it was more of a black swan event for the technology that they use as an excuse. Because a lot of small people like, retail traders like you and me was able to somewhat, quote unquote, and I hate to say it this way, but I'm going to call it like it is, beat the system. Those guys took that's
the whole point. You got to beat the system.
Well, it's not but I don't want to phrase it where that it's just.
I mean, you know what I mean, but.
Yeah, we're not hooking and crooking. It's just that so many people made a great opportunity out of that moment. And it was a lot of people were flushed in cash. Like we had people that became literally millionaires overnight trading that setup. 100,000-aires, right? 10,000-aires. And these people came out of nowhere, had no knowledge whatsoever.
If they bought like $1,000 worth of stock, $1 of $2, and it went up to 70. Shit, I can't only do the math. I wish I could do the math. How much that is?
Yeah, but that's just it. So that was the excitement value of it, right? So there's a lot going on within that. So again, that's why we get excited about knowledge, right? Knowledge first, right? Knowledge brings power. Power brings profit, and we don't want people to get intimidated by this because that's what. That's what we're here for, to help people realize this and unpack this stuff so they can become more, I should say more affectionately, committed to this opportunity to learn. What's going on, family? Kevin Stewart, I see you in the building, right? Peace, power, property. Well, Kevin Stewart, I see you in the house.
I'm gonna come back
to you guys as well. All right. So that's good. So good points, guys. Raising that because, just a more of a, one of the reasons why we like to. Bring up these small history lessons. We call them history lessons, but the chart is basically a number that history on wheels, right? History through the value of numbers, right? That's what a technical chart setup is, right? It's history in numbers form, right? This is a form of cuneiform, right? Hebrew, right? Hebrew family, right? Canaanites, right? This is the form of cuneiform in terms of what money, right? So again, we're talking about 218 on the COVID lows going back in February 2020 or March, I should say, March 2020. From 218 all the way up to like 480, right? In under 2 years, literally, we'll be 2 years and maybe another couple months, right? In March. This is unheard of, right? It's all this liquidity here during a pandemic. Now, mind you, this was a pandemic where the world shut down, not just America, but the world. And yet and still, people found a way to be bullish on the stock market. While Main Street has been suffering, we're figuring out, trying to figure out how they're gonna keep their business afloat, how they're gonna feed their family, how they're gonna keep their bills paid, etc., yada yada. The government made sure, above all things, first and foremost, that the stock market was gonna be well taken care of. First and foremost, with your tax dollars. Now, who can you complain to about that? Your local congressman, senator, representative, whomever. Right? Can you call the SEC? Could you call, who you going to complain to? This is the system on steroids. This is the system on drugs. And you, the sober one, have to sit through all this and watch it happen. There ain't nothing you can do about it. That got to really, really grind your gears, if you ask me. So my thing is like, okay, well, this is why you need to also figure out, other ways to learn how to procure capital. Why? Because you can't depend on what you thought was the American dream by going to school, getting a good education so you can get you a good job with a bachelor's, master's, emeritus status. It don't matter. None of that stuff mattered. PhD, none of that stuff mattered if you couldn't go to work to get paid, right? If you didn't have the value to have salary, even during your downtime, you was in trouble. So using an unemployment line to the person that worked at McDonald's, let that marinate. Like, imagine how that felt, right? How that feels, right? You were so dependent upon the government, like about what all that you didn't already have in your savings that you had to kind of, blow through, right? Because the government was slow to move their feet. You had to go stand in line like everybody else, fill out paperwork just like everybody else. This is the craziness of America. And so America was on a joyride in this, right? In the stock market, it was on a joyride. They was on a complete joyride. Look at there. Right? So yeah, here we are today, and we're finally starting to get a semblance of that. They're going to take the punch bowl away. What I mean by the punch bowl? Well, the Federal Reserve is now thinking about what? Paring back some of that extra liquidity that they've been pumping into the market using taxpayers' money. Printed money out of thin air, digital money out of thin air, literally. Right? Couldn't make this stuff up. So again, S&P 500 last year, well, I say last year, I keep forgetting it's not 2020, it's 2022 now. But last year we eked out 28% on the S&P 500, 28% annual return. So essentially, again, we use block math. If you had 10 grand, you made $2,800 in interest on your money in the S&P 500 index alone. If you had 100,000, that's 28,000, right? You had $1 million to put into the market, you made over $250,000. Let that marinate. That's just the S&P index alone. AMC actually ended up over 1,000% last year. Basically, if you bought AMC at the beginning of January, by the end of the year, you was up like over 1,000%. I mean, there's just many scenarios like that. We talked about this stuff just recently too on one of my live that we did recently, but I'm just using that as a comparative, value, right? A start value where you like, man, something got to give, bro. You can't be out here working hard, receiving twice as less and working twice as much. Something has to give, So the income, these kind of different opportunities in terms of using these, these instruments, I call them, these little, financial vehicles, right? These stocks, right? Whatever. But yeah, this stuff is to me, it's very, look, it's very important and necessary to learn. Why? Because at any given moment, when you have, any kind of little storm in your life financially, at least you have access to opportunity. Meaning, if a job don't work out or a business partner scenario don't shake out, whatever, you still have access to make some kind of form of income if you understand the rules of engagement, and then you utilize it properly. And you catch a day like today, where the market pulled back literally in 3 hours over dang near 10 points, like that kind of drop. Right? You see, I got my little notes up there already because y'all know I be on this stuff. Right? I got my little notes up there. It says what? 200 moving average today, pivot or overshoot, right? On the Fed FOMC news of speedy rate hikes and tapering, right? Near 2% drop today. Again, binary event, call it what you want, money still made if you're ready to make it happen. That's why we say stay ready so you have to worry about getting ready. That's why we always say that, right? Because again, whatever amount that you had sitting around would have been great, right? $1,000, would have been turned into what? You can do the math on that. It's that kind of reality, right? The $7,000 somewhere around there, $7,000, 9, somewhere around there, right? Crazy numbers, right? Because if you played it from the very, beginning of the day, but nonetheless, that's just opportunity, right? So that's opportunity. So enough about that. So anybody else? What you got, guys? I know we were kind of going in a little bit there. Brother K, going in. Anybody? Any stocks that you guys were playing today? Want to talk about?
Anybody else got anything?
Come on, I know y'all got plenty questions, plenty stocks you want to discuss.
Like I do, but I'm gonna let somebody else go.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I do. I'm actually in the middle of cooking. I'm gonna give me 1 second.
no, do
But I
what
was
you do.
gonna
You
talk
good
about
over? But
that Merc.
we go to Merck. Yeah, no problem, no worries. Yeah, so Merck obviously had a bang out day today a little bit. Why? Because again, more of the what we already know, right? This
All
whole
right,
ideal of the virus. Go ahead, Ober. Go ahead.
all right. So I'm new. I'm definitely super excited in this new year. I made me some money in the stock market from what it did today from Ford on my option that I put in back in early November. Um,
Nice.
that worked out really good for me. I've been watching it, paying attention to it, going up and down, up and down. This is the high as it went today, and it was crazy. So yeah, I went ahead and did my thing with that one. But I want to just learn more on how to really channel options for the year based what you're talking about. Since it's the beginning of the year, like how do you really pay attention to the charts or read the charts to know that okay, this would be a good option to put in for the year. That's something where I'm looking to do.
Really good. And then shout out and congratulations to you as well, Ober. Because again, you were, of course, a lot of people, they may not know you. Obviously, we're connected from, years back, of course, business partners, this, that, and the third, who now his brother and grown on to, start his own business and now it's starting to expand into different other, asset class and revenue streams himself. Again, you might want to post your link in the back chat as well over there when you get a chance so people can check out your business, Dynamic 3D. Of course, he's, a fitness trainer and he also sells, health and wealth items as well, right? Just everyday, inspiring value, inspiring brother. And again, him, taking, the preparatory steps to get into this, industry, this craft, so to speak. Of course, he's already built for it. Anybody that's a business owner is built for this. I tell people every day, if you're an average person who dealt with, if you just dealt with a checkbook at some point in your life, then you built for this. Why? Because it's all it is about what? Budgeting, money management, understanding where's opportunity, where you should or should not spend money, right? In a lot of ways, right? A lot of these products, you grew up with them, you use them every day, right? You see their billboards all over the place, you see their TV commercials. So it's not like you disconnected from this. Why? Because either you're spending money for the products or service that they actually produce to you as a customer, or you're investing in it from a power broker side. See how that works? So it's exciting to see people now move into this, as another way of also, procuring income as an income stream and now starting to benefit from it. So again, as he's speaking about, the Ford, play, because we've been talking about Ford, like, since we've been blue in the face, ever since it hit $4 a share. Ford has been number stellar this year. Why? Because it reinvented itself, right? Ford was a legacy stock, right? We talked about the three different main levels of stocks that have been kind of, put into different nomenclatures, right? You got growth stocks, value stocks, then legacy stocks. Ford was a legacy stock. Why? Company been around over 100 years, and they had hit a peak at some point in their illustrious career. And at that point, they necessarily didn't have what they call a growth spurt to add. Why? Because there was no other value of innovation that they could bring forward to really move the needle any more than it was at that point. So they just kept paying out a very big dividend and just kept putting out the cards that they've been able to do to kind of keep their revenue in line, to keep their shareholders happy who've been around, been with them like 30, 40, 50, 70, 80 years dang there. But lo and behold, Ford came around at a great time of life. Why? Because innovation caught up with their legacy, game plan. And they got into the EV space, right? Got a new lease on life. And they had a market reset button that happened because of COVID.
Yeah.
Couldn't make this up again. That was a reset button that it gave the company a really good chance to kind of revamp a lot of old policy, old people on the board, shake some things up and say, we can move into this new space. Why? Because we got a catalog, right? It's like you own your own masters, right?
That new Ford Mustang looked good too. Like when I seen that, I already knew the market was gonna go crazy. I just felt that in my soul.
Yeah, again, see, this is like I always say, man, a lot of people invest in things that they already know, right? Or they have an understanding of, about certain or whatever. This stuff really isn't, again, outside the average person pay grade. They just look at it as it's being something that's complicated, and it really isn't. It really isn't. It's a product, it's a valuation, and there's a potential customer base.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. That's it. Don't complicate that. you'll know if the customer base is meeting that value of the product or the model. Why? Because you'll hear more people talking about it, or you start to see the commercials, really ramp up. You start to, hear the chatter that you typically hear, in average conversation where people are, oh, did y'all hear Ford actually went into the EV space? They got electrical vehicles now. Man, they turned the new Ford Mustang into a what? Electrical vehicle now. Let that marinate.
And
That's crazy.
Go ahead, Oba.
No, I'm just saying, and guess what you're doing in the process when you're doing this? You're creating a fundamental good thesis for yourself.
Exactly what you're doing. You're psychologically brainwashing yourself to realize the power of what a potential good investment could look like, given that all the tea leaves align, all the stars align, and people realize that this is a great opportunity. Why? Because you already got a name brand recognition in the company called Ford. They got the best-selling truck on the planet, and the Ford F-150. They sell that truck all around the world. It's the most best sold utility truck on the planet. So that doesn't, that ain't hard to fathom in itself. And now they have a lineup of vehicles going back to old school days, right? Some of your granddaddies and grandmamas used to drive them old Ford Catalinas back in the day with the big old antenna in the back. Boy, watch out now, watch out.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Old school, right? That Ford Bronco back in the day, man. Look, bro.
And just a fun fact for those who don't know, like he played a hand in building America. Like he's the reason why people are driving vehicles right now. What they call it, minority individuals. At one point in time, it was just rich people who were driving vehicles. That was it. But Ford was an individual that came in to say, look, I need individuals like me and people that don't make money like I can make money now could be able to have access to vehicles. You know what I mean? So
the plant. That's exactly what us. The similar, they brought that to the next level. Right now, granted, of course, y'all not like throw the history lesson out there, right? Because I got to make sure we stay true to the Urban Economic Empowerment show. But y'all know the first person to put out a automobile, an automatic combustible engine vehicle, was a black company and a black guy by the name of C.J. Patterson. I broke this down a long time ago, of course, but I like to bring that up. It was a guy named C.J. Patterson. The only thing that he didn't have that Henry Ford had was what? The ability to have that assembly line. Why? Because obviously assembly, Henry Ford had the money. They had investors. They had people like that. They weren't giving no black innovator like that kind of opportunity back then. Again, I ain't trying to make it racist, but I got to call it like IS is. He was the first person. He was out before C.J. Ford was. Look him up. C.J. Patterson. They had the first automobile.
C.J. Patterson. That's a good
history
name.
lesson, right?
I heard that name before, but I never looked him up. I heard him when I went to school for automotive technology. That name did ring bells when I was actually learning about engines. His name was in the actual book that I was learning.
Yeah, combustible engines. C.J. Patterson was the first one to put a vehicle together, and then obviously Henry Ford took the next level because they invented that the assembly line, right? That took it to the whole nother level. That means you got manufacturing power, but you turn them things out like gingerbread cookies. And that's basically what happened. So again, just fun fact, history lesson. It's good to see that. Ford was way back during that time. And of course, at that point, again, we're talking about them today in relation to their stock value, of course. The company had went through its heyday moment. Again, just back in the chart, just look at this. Again, of course, you guys know this stuff, but we like to have these discussions and and show you how a company can reinvent itself. See, clearly here you see they hit its heyday, in 98, 99. Clearly, it hit its heyday. And guess what? It only topped out. Of course, the stock went through different splits at that point. That's why the stock prices don't reflect what you got now. But in terms of the splits that it had, meaning the stock splits where they kind of reduced the shares or added to the shares in terms of splits that they've done over their tenure being as a publicly traded company. In relation to that, you see it topped out at in 2000, basically not 2000, basically 1999, 1998. After that, it just plummeted from the earth, right? We had, went into, of course, the 2000 .com bubbles and all this stuff and the housing, which that came after .com bubble. Of course, you had the subprime lending, farce, right? What that was and how they kind of cooked and crooked and messed up American people. And it brought the stock all the way down with the rest of it, all the way back down to like 70-some cents a share in terms of the split value.
When was this? When was this?
This was during the subprime lending crash that happened back in 2008. But before that, when I said they hit the all-time high peak here in 2001, excuse me, 2001, I keep saying that. 1999, 1998, when Ford hit his heyday, he hit his high point, right? And just a basically, combustible engine, automaker, right? And then remember they had had their little problem. They had to get bailed out. Remember Obama bailed out the auto plant, all that stuff doing the sub. Y'all remember all this stuff? Just fresh on your mind recently. But the stock wasted pulled back from $16 after the split here, or $18, and came all the way down to like 67 cents a share. And that was just 2009. Now you back up to $20 a share, $24 to be exact, somewhere around there.
You said the highest is what in 99?
It was at $18 a share. That's what they call a post split. They had what they call splits, where the company would do what they call a share reduction. And when they do a share reduction, so to speak, like a forward split, that means if your stock was trading at like $100 and you want to make your stock more available to attract new investors, you'll do what they call a forward stock split, which will reduce the stock price down to a more manageable price, let's say $20 from 100, right? The valuation is still there, but it gives new investors the opportunity to come in too, where you can grow the potential value of your company even more so with a more of attractive share price, right? Okay. That stay the same, but the share price gets reduced, right? Okay. So over the years of forward trading, it has gone through multiple splits like that where, it might have got high at some point. Like Amazon right now trade like, what, $3,300 a share, $3,100 a share? Like who got to, who want to go buy that right now? Well, a lot of people do, right? But they just don't want to have to pay that whole $3,000 a share. But now the good thing, they got fractional share. You can buy a fraction of it, right? Mm-hmm. But at some point, people waiting for Amazon to do what? A forward split, so they can get the stock price back down to what they call a manageable value, where to attract more investors, right? Tesla did it just recently. Apple just did it recently. And then the stocks, stocks shot right back up again. So it really didn't even matter, right? Especially Tesla, right? That beast, right? But this is the reality within that. So again, we just using it from the forward split perspective only here. Oh, but look at this. 1999, 1998, 2008. So literally 10 years to the T, it went from 18 to basically what? 70 cents. And then from basically 2009, right? 2009 to basically close to 10 years in 2019, give or take, now it's like 12 years, it went from 70 cents to 24. Somebody do the math on that. What is the percentage gain on that? If you bought forward back in, like I like to do this a lot when we had this discussion. What was y'all doing in 2009? Anybody? What was any of y'all doing in 2009?
2009?
Right?
Man, 2009. Wow. Yeah, stocks wasn't nothing in my radar in 2009.
Just imagine that, right? Now you was living around it, you seen it, you knew about it.
In 2009, I had a Ford Bronco too.
Look at that. Look at the ancestor. Look at the ancestor. Look at the ancestor. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Why you church music right now?
I had a Ford.
What you had, Eva?
I had a baby 2008 actually. So 2009 was nursing.
Went half on a baby and could have went half on Ford at the same time. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the ancestor. Look at the ancestor giving you the signal, y'all, and none of y'all want to pull the trigger, right?
That's crazy.
I mean, think about that, guys. See, this is the power within this stuff. Now, a person would say, of course, if you were in this, let's say, I don't know, going back to, let's say, 1985, right? Because the last time the stock was at that price, what they call post-split, was 1985. Now, what was y'all doing in 1985? I'm really finna mess y'all up now. Boy, don't even go to 1985.
Graduated high
born yet.
But Joe was probably in the sandbox, not in the sandbox. You were swimming, we call free swimming in some, in some liquids.
Man. I was being made, brother. I was being made, brother.
You were still on what they call on the drafting table. I'm calling you was on the drafting table.
Real live, right? I was fighting for a spot.
Right, you was at the drafting table, right? You were ready to get your ticket punched, right?
That's crazy.
Think about that. 70 cents in 1985. Post split course, it was more than that, before the splits. But again, you're talking about from 85 to now 2022. Right? How many years is that? Right? It's like what? How many years is that?
6 years. It's 30. I'm about to be 36. So that's like 36, 37 years.
So that's a house note. Let that marinate. That's a house note. That's a 30-year fixed mortgage note right there in a stock investment. When you hit a turn, buy and hold, right? Or the Warren Buffett thesis, you never should think about holding the stock for 10 seconds. If you don't plan on holding for 10 years, if you have that kind of level of discipline or that level of organization in your life, or the parents who are that strict to understand the financial literacy is like, the way to create wealth, and they are patient and poised to watch this thing play out and come through into fruition. Imagine that. You was born in 85. for your first birthday or your newborn birthday, the family got together and put $1,000 together and said, we're going to put your investment in the market and let that turn over. So at some point when you get, 18, 20, 30, whatever, you do what you want with it, right? Like a forward trust, so to speak, right? $1,000 at 70 cents a share, now sitting at what, $24 a share. How much that be worth today? Ooh, boy, somebody do that math right now.
That's a couple
that marinate. And why am I saying that? Because some of you guys have yet to start families. Some of you guys got families already. At some point, if you looking to send them to higher learning education institutions or just set them up for success, well, you don't feel like you have to, come up with it all at one time, when they kind of need it the most, you need to start planning like yesterday. You need to start planning this stuff like yesterday. That's the importance and power within this. You don't have the luxury to wait when you are already wasteful in some aspects of your life that you can clamp down on right now to make it be a great benefit in the future. As I keep saying, we're the vanguard, right? We are the vanguard for the future, right? The generation coming after us already going to be in trouble. Why? Because the Federal Reserve didn't mess their life up with all their free money, right? They got to pay for it. Well, guess what? You better start setting them up for success right now. Insurance plan, 529 plans, whatever, CDs, trust, whatever you're going to do, start now. Don't wait because you already got it. You claim you don't got it, but you got it. Trust me. I seen half of y'all at the KFC, fill up, $5 fill up box line today. You got it, right? And you got food at the house, right? So we talking $5 a day, right? I want to really segue into that because we at the beginning of the year, right? So y'all know at the beginning of the year, I like to talk about what? The $5 saving challenge. What better way to get y'all guys fired up to get into investing, to get disciplined about learning how to put away money than right now? Because this new year, new me kind of stuff, this is the great time to move that energy right into your what? The optimism that's already surrounding you, right? You're feeling good. It's a new year. You got your vibes up. Now start figuring out how to way to grow you some money. Why? Because you got it, right? You got it. And it's going to force you to learn how to be more disciplined, structured, and dealing with money anyway. Why? Because what is money ultimately? It's a resource, right? It's a tool that has no emotional bearing whatsoever. It's to serve a purpose. So again, I'm of the mindset, if you train yourself how to be, thoroughly and disciplined to deal with money, then your money will be trained and disciplined to go out there and find other monies to bring back to you. Let that marinate for a moment. These instruments here, go ahead. Oh,
no, I was gonna say, but brother AE, it's hard to say $5 though. I mean, I can't do it. I gotta get the new J's. I gotta get I gotta get that Pop Secrets popcorn.
That's Nicki Minaj 8-track, right? No, that's the Nicki Minaj 8-track. You got to go get that vintage Nicki Minaj 8-track. You ain't got to get the CD or the thumb drive now. They got the digital now. You got to get the Nicki Minaj 8-track, right? That vintage piece, right? The NFT.
Right. Still got the dust on it,
You know what I'm saying? See,
hey, yo, speaking, my bad to cut in, but speaking of NFT, like, what can you give me just a little bit of education on that African Emporium? Because I really don't know too much about it, and I would really love to know more about it, how to invest into it, some benefits behind it. I did a little bit of research, as far as the benefits where it comes in the fitness arena as well too, but just overall, could you just give me just and not just myself, just the actual empowerment of everybody, just giving us some education on the NFT.
No problem. I was gonna talk about this evening anyway, but that's your like mind thing. See, y'all sometimes y'all get ahead of the game, and I love it. Why? Because that shows you creative juices are flowing. And as y'all saw probably even in the video that I had up, right? The little, the clutch video where I had the NFT, right? The digitized version of that, the Audi e-tron, right? Basically, that's all they did. They did a pixelation value of a rendition of a item, right? Be it if you the author, organizer, of that perspective, right? The person who got the property rights, or what they call the masters of a particular rendition like that, you can sell it, right? Where it's like a rarity, right, in itself, right? So that way it can't be duplicated. It's like a licensing that you get to be able to provide it, right? And essentially what we're talking about with NFTs is they're just what they call rarity collectibles, right? Digital art, right? Digital art. Now, before that, it was what? I'm finna go old school with y'all. Y'all remember Mitchell and Ness? Hardwood Classics? Let me see if that ring a bell. Somebody should have said.
I know exactly
what I'm talking about.
I got some of those in my closet right now.
Okay, come through. Right, I had that OJ College. Right, I had that 32 that you. I had look at. I had all that.
Look, I got the Kobe joint. I had that for years.
I had that yellow one, that 8
joint.
Yeah, even going back, man, I had some old one. And guess what? This when I was living at high, that station down there, and a joker broke into my house and stole my throwbacks. They left a 50 something screen TV and all this stuff and stole my throwback. Why was it that barely again? About close to 10. I already shoot up in the air for about 3 days straight. They're shooting in the sky. Like, God, Dr. Barry got my shirts. But no, seriously, this is that value of rarity, collectibles, items like that now, like the old school Reebok classics, right? The Allen Iversons, right? You think about these kind of rarities now, right? Again, man, we can go on for days. So in terms of that, so again, you bringing that up here, I guess we're going to get right into it, right? Wrote a song about it. Here it go. What is the definition value of an NFT? Basically, it basically means non-fungible token, right? So, of course, a lot of this stuff is, easily accessible in terms of, you being able to kind of pull this stuff up. I mean, if you're, a person who's seeking information on this, and we can kind of help you unpack it. So basically what a non-fungible token is, but can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So basically non-fungible token is unique, non-interchangeable unit of data stored on a blockchain, a form of digital ledger. That's what makes it great. Why? Because we know the blockchain is immutable, right? It cannot be, it's very secure, right? So if you have owned the rights to a particular digital art, in this case, yes, you see how, kind of, rendering that definition to you guys, right? Non-interchangeable. That means whoever in control of the keys of that particular digital art, and people find value in it, it's a rarity. And it can have value in places where other people hang out within the blockchain, where you get to adorn it, use it, whatever, right? It's kind of like you having J's on, right? Your favorite pair of J's on in some kind of form of a, I don't know, dream that you may be in there, right? And everybody else, got, pro wings on, like, you the man, right? You got some, some rarity, right? You don't want. Essentially what this is digital art, right? This is Sotheby's 2.0, right? Anybody familiar with Sotheby's, y'all know, I'm into that kind of stuff, whatever. This is that kind of value of the new generations having their own form of a Sotheby's in terms of rarities. Like if they were to clean out maybe the Louvre, right, over there in Paris, right? If they were to clean out, all the stuff that's underneath the Vatican, right? All the stuff that, was looted and stolen from all these other nations out there, right? Those would be that's the old school collectibles that, people like that have been able to kind of buy expensively or hoard or hide, right? Now, the new generation has something different. Now, people say, well, that stuff ain't worth nothing because how you gonna put a value on that? It's valueless because it's just some art on a digital, network, and man, that ain't no real, store value. I beg to differ. Let me ask y'all a question, personal question. How many of y'all probably got an old Polaroid photo somewhere in your possession from the old school? Polaroid exposure. Right? An old school Polaroid exposure.
I'm looking at something right now.
You talk about the joint that you got to wave for the picture?
Wave, you clean, and then you got the hole in. But how sentimental is that picture to you?
Man, very.
Very, very.
Invaluable, isn't it? It's art. It's art. And it's a primary source. Why? Because you can't duplicate a Polaroid. Am I lying? You can't duplicate a Polaroid, right? You can facsimile copy it, but you can't duplicate it. The authentication is also already inside the capture, right? The Polaroid. So in the form of that, it's a rarity to the aspect of you. Now, if you can go into a marketplace where of course, something like that, sentimental value, to get rid of that, it would mean a lot. But if there was a market for somebody who was looking for rarity just to have collections of old school Polaroids, what they'd be willing to pay for that. See what I'm saying? Here it is, you got some and you might want to relinquish that. Hey, for my collection, I'm trying to put together art gallery of Polaroids. And if you got anything vintage that you might have was taken in the 80s or the 70s, I buy it off of you. Let that make, you know what I'm saying? Y'all follow me here? A little bit here. The synonymous value to that today is that now the digital art that can be rendered through, these different programs like CAD or just whatever, you just on the blockchain creating these different values of art, now those become what they call scarcity or rarity of an item, that if you can display it in a form, and a la the metaverse, right? We're gonna get into that, or a digital form where you are the only person who have that. Why? Because the definition says what? It's a unique and non-interchangeable unit of data. Unit meaning singular. Now you can have multiple copies of one, but it's still within the key decentralization ownership of that artist, right? That rendered it. Make sense? That's rarity. You get to display that stuff in those digital forms. The fact that people are willing to pay top dollar for that stuff now is just another understanding of that people got more money than they really say they ain't got, right? And there's a market for that level of new, immutable rarity of art. Why? Because you can steal a Rembrandt. You can steal a Andy Warhol, right? You're gonna probably take a lot of cat burgers to be able to steal something of that nature, right? The Fabergé egg, right? I know I'm talking about the fine art stuff, right? Picasso, right? You can steal that, right? Right? The original copy of the Constitution, right? Good luck, but you could. Sidebar. Matter of fact, the CEO of Citadel Securities, right? They got the holding company Citadel, King Griffin. He just recently outbidded a blockchain forum group for a digital copy of the Constitution. I think he paid like over $1 million for a digital copy of the Constitution. It was only one available that I guess Library of Congress was able to do this one-time thing. I guess to my understanding might be more, but he outbid his little company for over $1 million for it, $1 million plus for it. A digital copy of the Constitution. That's a form of a fungible rarity piece of art. How important is the Constitution to a lot of people? It's very important, right? How many people would love to have a copy of it? Probably a lot of people who really believe in it. Make sense? Well, the marketplace in terms of the metaverse that houses the majority of the NFT, but not just that, you don't necessarily have to be on the metaverse, right? You having digital copy of this rendition of scarcity or rarity of art now places it, in the ranks of that of, again, those kind of fine art pieces that you would get that you have to go sit in the auction house to get. And this is scarcity of it because it can't be facsimile rendered or anywhere like that outside of having those keys to display it. That's a form of art. The same way people collect Nike shoes. It's the same reality now. Now, some people say, well, man, but these people are going to overload with some of these prices. Maybe. But I would say this. If you're an artist and you now get full rights to your body of work, right? Your as they say, your proof of work, whatever, and void that of a middleman, wouldn't that be the greatest thing ever? Imagine how many rap artists, if they didn't have to go through Clive, Interscope, any of those people, and they just get complete masters of their work out the gate without getting a 360 deal like that, and then go straight to the market and push their own work, void of a middleman. How great would that be? Now y'all know black folks stand to benefit the most if there was a system like that in place. Am I lying?
Oh, some of the black people are doing it already.
They're doing it now. You see my point? That's what
I
I was
was just gonna say, I wish your boy Tory Lanez, he made the NFTs where it was like $1 a piece, and then now they're going for like 50,000 a piece. After he did his concert, when he did his concert, they basically boosted up, and it was like a memorabilia off the NFTs. Then you have Samsung is making it where it's more accessible for you to buy NFTs off their TVs now. You got the NFL; they're making their own NFTs. They're trying to get into the stock market now.
See, these are just the platform. You're the artist. They just want to be able to showcase it because they get a side value revenue off the streaming, in a sense, right? See, this is the great part about business in this perspective. This puts all the rights or reserve of rights in the hand of the actual artist for a change, right? No more people penny pinching, like no more central bankers penny pinching off your work, your creativity, your money. Like you put your money to a bank, they charge you fees on your money just to house your money for you, right? Then they take your funds and go invest with it or loan it out to other people. And then you go in for that same bank to get a loan out of that system and they deny you. Somebody make that make sense. So this is the reality within that, where the decentralization of the blockchain has now changed and shook the world up in a way where they'll never be the same. Why? Because the old guard, the old generation, the old, gatekeepers are now having to deal with, the people start to rate their value of intellectual property, this, that, and the third, in a way where it cuts them out of the mix. They can't control everything, right? They want to control everything, right? Everything you do, the government, y'all get it. This separates them from that perspective. If anything, they may be a platform fee to display it or to move and exchange it. But outside of that, we're talking about NFTs going for millions and millions of dollars from a simple digital rendering of a piece of art that you might have done in your spare time around just doodling. You can do the actual hard copy on paper, scan it, digitize it through pixelation, whatever, turn it into a digital token, put it on the blockchain, and now guess what? There's only that. I mean, it's crazy, right? The level of, and it's a young market. It's still young, right? It's still young. So as you see, it says NFTs can be associated with what? Reproducible, right? Digital files such as what? Photos, videos, and audio. Just like I was just talking about, music, videos, of course, and photos like that. Let that marinate. Old Polaroid, stuff like that. And guess what? Now it has an ecosystem of what? That is stored and housed on, and the main blockchain that stuff is stored on is what? The Ethereum blockchain. Not the Bitcoin blockchain, but the Ethereum blockchain. Y'all know that's my favorite one of all of them. Why? Because I love ERC20, right? Smart contract, right? That removed the bankers, the lawyers, and pretty much any kind of middleman fintech company out of the picture when they created the Ethereum blockchain. Now people can't leech off your intellectual property. So that's where all the NFTs are being housed at. The metaverse, all that stuff that y'all starting to hear about. Ethereum blockchain. It's the reason why Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin this year or last year in terms of what? Notional gains. Over 500% last year. Ethereum went up over 500% last year. And it's just getting started. Yeah, we can get a nice little pullback here, in the next, 2-3 months, maybe by second quarter, if that. But yeah, Ethereum at some point is, look, all right, I don't want to get ahead of nobody. I don't want nobody thinking I'm right here pumping Ethereum. But I've talked about this stuff for years. It ain't no like it's new. If you know me, you know I've been talking about Ethereum, right? But it has now the world's digital rare art and NFT stored on its blockchain. How valuable is that? Very valuable. So it's the Sotheby's of the blockchain. If there was a scenario like that, let that marinate. So Snoop Dogg, matter of fact, just a day or two ago, right? Eminem bought a rendition of the Lazy Monkey NFT. Paid like what? $450,000 for it. Some kid probably had it that lived in his mama's basement that rendered it and sold it, to Eminem for $450,000. That kind of reality. I just did a live stream the other day where y'all know I broke down the scenario with the little 12-year-old girl. She already over near $6 million in doing NFTs. She already had a niche for drawing art. 12-year-old girl, 12-year-old. She's made over $6 million with her art and turning it into NFTs. So Joker like, oh, bro, I can't, man, that stuff, they're complicated, bro. I can't learn all that stuff. I can't do it. And you probably got some art around the house right now that people love to have. You just got to get out of that mindset of being defeated and, being, again, in a lot of our cases, just, feeling like we can't learn nothing new, right? And see what, it costs you nothing. Why? Because the way that it's being marketed now, everybody is learning it somewhat together, and people are willing to actually help you, with the information concerning it, whether, you can get it, out there on the market. If 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds are doing it and they're making all this money, how say that of an old person that's 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, right? That got to sting to see these little kids just, doodling really on paper, and they're getting paid hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, right? They see how that work? Y'all see how that work? See, that's the value within this, right? So again, it just, man, we'll be here for days talking about this in a good way. But I'm just going to again rehash that of what we talked about before when I displayed this about the little sister, right? Little 12-year-old sister, right? Just really quick here, right? 12-year-old, right? Has made what? Nearly $6 million with NFTs. And she's just getting started. That should scare you. Right? That should scare you right there. Right? 12 years old. Right? You could put beats on it. You right over Zane. You can put beats on there too. Like they say, audio, photos, and videos. You can put all that on there. Because once you produce it, you have the keys to it. That's rarity. Even more so now, what they're doing with a lot of artists who may not can go, who were not in a position to go what they call major or mainstream, whatever. They have now what they call like start engines for artists, where they can actually upload their music to a like a catalog house where a person like, let's say myself, if I want to use their their songs, with a license that was given to me the same way like you get like a license or a key for your Bitcoin or Ethereum or any kind of cryptocurrency you have now access to be able to use that information or that that aspect of art license free. Well, with a license, but you can use it across different platforms and not be penalized for it, right? So this is a way they can still make money the same way they're like on the Apple Music Store, or they're selling their stuff on their own value through a thumb drive or whatever. It's just more ways you can scale scale your artistry through different portals. I mean, this stuff is great, man. Look, all right. This stuff is great. This stuff is great. So again, 12-year-old little sister here, crushing it, right? Crushing it, right? They're crushing it. Nyla Hayes, right? Long neck, right? That's her art, art of choice is drawing like the women with the long necks, right? Africa and Asian culture, how they do the rings around the neck, stuff like that. But that's her artistry. This girl, 12 years old. Now, she's been doing this ever since she was probably like 10, 11, maybe 9. And now the NFT game came along at the right time. Now, somebody helped her, got her started and where to go to put. See, look at him. This stuff right here is selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars for a rendition. This is a 12-year-old little girl. Now, some of y'all got an artist somewhere in the family, little son, little Junebug. Look, he been doodling on everything, on the walls, the curtains, the cabinets. Look, Junebug, we got to get you an NFT, get you a sketch pad, get you on a digital so you can make some money off this here. It's that kind of reality. That kind of reality. So it's just crazy, guys. It's crazy. So I mean, this is that new wave of again the artists now taking back their craft. The artists now taking back their craft because they don't need A&Rs and they don't need distribution channels and managers to do the work that they could do themselves and get all the profits. All the profits now. Cuts out the middleman. We're moving towards the middleman-less society, guys. I hope y'all realize that. That's why most people get into investments and stocks right now, too. They're learning that. Why am I waiting on Mr. Charlie alone, right? To float my dreams and hopes and goals and value when I can start doing, other things on my own now. Why? Again, I asked a very simple question, right? If you need people to hold and manage your money for you, what does that say about you? Right? You come out better just find a random stranger on the street, say, here, hold it $500, I'll be back, 6 months, to get it from you. Random stranger. That's basically what you do when you're giving it to bank. Now, it's insured and all that. I get it, but you know the point. That money has no value of growth potential sitting in somebody's, bank account with no interest attached to it. Or sitting in your coffee can or, under your mattress, or, you got that, your favorite little tree in the backyard with your little pit bulls, garden over. Hey, that money dead. It has no value. It's not what even it was created for. It wasn't created to be waited, held to be liquidated. That's the most asinine, game plan ever, right? We've been taught that though, right? save money for a rainy day? Like, no, I'm gonna invest it for a rainy day. Why? Because who wants to get into a big problem or have a problem where you have to liquidate all your savings? Now you got to work twice as hard to refill that coffer again. Makes no sense to me. So you need income producing assets or portals or lanes that you can go in to grow your money even more with. Now, we're starting to figure that out now. A lot of us, right? Some of us, kind of been in the game. Some of us getting started. Doesn't matter, but it's never too late. Is the point. Why? Because here's a 12-year girl that went right into the blockchain space and utilized NFTs to push her art out there. And she already over 6 figures. Right? She didn't, she can put her mama and daddy out the house tomorrow. Like, y'all get out my house. God, dog, like that? Yeah, it's like that. I'm worth 6 million. Now, but y'all get my point. Again, the artist now has power now. The artists out there really have power now. So photos, videos, and audio, let's go. And we were talking about that other day as well. Like, you got these classic, like for video gamers out there, what better space than the video gamers? Well, they already in that space as it is. So John Madden just passed away recently. We were talking about that. The Oprah Brandon brought it up too. And somebody else was speaking about it. Like, imagine those, NFL 2K games and all that stuff like that. Like, those things could definitely be turned into NFTs. Like instant classics. Right? Instant classics, stuff like that. It's an endless array of opportunity in this space. Right? It's endless. Right? I mean, who's that? Jack Dorsey that owns Twitter. He even made an NFT out of a tweet. His first tweet that he ever made, I think it was like his first tweet that he ever made. He actually owned the company, but he did a tweet and sold it. Somebody wanted to buy one of his buy his tweet, I guess. He did a tweet and sold it, NFT'd it for a lot of money. Couldn't make this stuff up. It's crazy, guys. Crazy.
Yeah, even Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. These guys cashing out on just run of the mill kind of stuff. Like, most people like, man, nobody gonna pay for that. Why wouldn't they? They're doing it. It just may be outside your conversation, scape, but yeah, there's a market out there and the people out there taking advantage of it. And it doesn't require a whole lot to get in it. Right? Because again, you could do this stuff literally from your sketch pad, digitize, pixelate it, put it onto the find these forms that that haven't, and you can see if if the fish biting. Scarcity. And a lot of this stuff again is right on your fingertips. You can pull this stuff up. So how to make and sell a NFT, right? How to make and sell NFTs, right? So this little site here, Fortune website publication here, right? NFTs are taking over and selling for millions. Here's how to make and sell one, right? From a 69 million piece of artwork to a 379,000 song created using genetic sequencing, COVID-19, right? NFTs are the internet latest obsession, right? And they have the potential to make real money too. The CEO of crypto exchange Coinbase, right? Y'all know that guy. He just bought a house for like $155 million. That's charlatan. Don't get me started on him, but another conversation for another day. Another Trevor Milton kind of reality, right? Said last month that the NFT market could quickly surpass the company's cryptocurrency trading business. Like, of course, he want to get into that space and be able to do all that stuff too, right? But he need to fix that old cumbersome clunky behind Coinbase first, right? But anyway, so how can someone get into get in on the action? Here's what you should do, or what you should know. Excuse me. What even is an NFT, right? NFT stands for non-fungible token. We went through that already, right? So it's basically one of a kind digital asset that belongs to you and only you. Only you. That's what makes it piece of rarity. Right? Look at that from this perspective. I know it's going to be a crazy kind of analogous here. If you got a spouse, right? Your spouse is an NFT. He or she belongs to you and only you. Now, if something else happening and they ain't belonging to you and only you, you might want to get a return on that invoice. Like you want I need to send that back a little bit. I need to get a refund on that.
Would you say mine's defective?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, something wrong. My key must be messed up or something. This one here, man, it is all over the place. It ain't standing inside the house like it's supposed to.
Right, it's making a nagging sound.
You know what I'm saying? It got a problem here. That's rarity, right? That's the value of that. The most popular NFTs right now include artwork and music, but you also can include videos. Here's what is going to get real crazy. Y'all know TikTok. We've been talking about TikTok like for a minute, right? Even with the whole deal with the Walmart and the whole disco the scenario with Cisco, all this stuff. Look, those little small snippet shorts that they make the shorts off of, through Facebook, copied off of the TikTok. Those TikTok videos that went viral, they gonna instantly end up being NFTs. Somebody gonna have the copies of that value where they can have the master. Now they can copy it through the internet same way people do YouTube and whatever, but they won't have authentication. You'll be the only one with that. A lot of these jokers can't wait to NFT these doggone little TikTok videos. They're already getting paid, ad revenue, same way how Google does AdSense revenue. It's crazy, guys. It's like wide open how you can make all kind of money. Like people bypassing going to sit in a 9-to-5 boring job. Not saying there's something wrong with that, but y'all know where I'm going when I'm saying this. These young folk bypassing it, they're going straight to content creators, artists, void of middleman, and they're making millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even more so, sidebar, real quick, just off the cuff, since we talk about it. Now, y'all probably seen this one too. I just posted it recently on my page. I've been posted a while back. Well, I spoke on it a while back, but I don't want to, I don't want to gross y'all out of there like this here. But I got to show y'all this here. Let me show you how crazy the market is right now. If people are willing to do this here, then I don't know what to tell y'all if y'all sitting on the sideline waiting to either learn how to invest in the markets or learn how to get into the NFT space, learn how to use the crypto blockchain forms and this stuff. I don't know what to tell y'all, but I'm finna share all this right here, right? And don't y'all come for me, but I'm just finna share how wild the world is right now. This is the world y'all live in, right? This woman right here, y'all heard about the 90-Day Fiance? This is a little show, a reality show called 90-Day Fiance. Star retired from selling what? Her farts after a heart attack scare. She was selling farts in a glass jar and made near $250,000. Bruh.
Oh, that's
Are
disgusting.
y'all kidding me?
Oh, that's nasty. Is that her?
Reality star who launched a gas adventure, peddling her fancy flatulence to strangers. Stephanie Mato, 31, blew away people on social media when she recently announced that she makes more than $50,000 a week selling her farts. Bruh, what's her overhead? Beans, eggs, and some glass jars from Walmart. Bruh. And postage stamps. Bruh.
You said postage stamps.
And postage stamps.
Oh, that's
y'all out
disgusting.
here doing it wrong, but y'all out here backwards hustling. And these people out here just selling farts in the jar, making $50,000 a week. Bruh. Bruh, I couldn't make this stuff up. Jokers ain't, man, all right. I'm just, look, bro. I'm just saying.
That's disgusting.
100%. And she getting paid. The Connecticut resident has gained international recognition after appearing on the reality show 90-Day Fiance and later started her own YouTube channel, right? That's typically how it happened, right? Spin off, you got a little notoriety, you got to start do something. You need anything to kind of continue to keep an attention spotlight on you. Oh, let's come up with an idea. Somebody got in the ear. Why don't you sell your farts online? Because guess what? People got OnlyFans pages and they, making hundreds of thousands, $1 million on OnlyFans just by showing they self and they body part. People have no moral clause no more. Guess what? Let's turn it up the next level. How about you? Let's see if we can sell your goodness. Couldn't make this stuff up, right? Later started YouTube, wrote books, and founded an X-rated subscription site called Unfiltered, right? Whatever that's about. I'm not going to click on that trash because it's probably some trash. She did really made waves with her olfactory business, right? olfactory business by capturing her emissions in jars, selling them because she thought it'd be a hilarious publicity move that would get a lot of people's attention. Now, keep in mind, if some of y'all from the art of the old class, maybe the store called like Spencer's back in the old days. Y'all remember Spencer's?
Mm-hmm.
The store Spencer in the mall, the oddity store, you can get all the kind of crazy stuff in, whoopee cushions and fart noises. They didn't have no farts in the jar on the shelf though, right? They had some weird stuff in there, but not farts in the jar. See, this how they get you. See this? See right? Get some makeup, get your little hair done, and then dudes thirsty out there. This is the new world that we living in. Dudes like extra thirsty out there, heck of thirsty, right? Y'all know the weirdos out there today. Some perverts out there in the world that the world ain't never seen today. That's why it's crazy out there. People trying to. All right, another conversation for the day. It's some weirdos out there, right? All you gotta do is just show up looking like the right, and it's gonna be some dude that drive a truck, right? Y'all moving Harlem Nights. Hey, yeah, this is Richie. Put your mom on the phone. Hey, tell you, hey, I ain't never coming home again. I ain't never coming home. Right? This is Richie.
Yeah, put your mom on the phone.
Right? Yeah, put your mom on the phone.
Yeah, right? Hey, Dolores, have a good life. I'm not coming back.
I ain't coming back. I ain't never coming back. Good day. All right? Y'all feel good about it, because you met him. But this is all these jokers out there doing it. They buying this stuff like this. Man, couldn't make this stuff up. But after making $200,000 in sales, the influencer has announced that she's retired, right? She made $200,000 selling her farts in a jar. Some of y'all can't even, look, trying to get your project off the ground. It's hard out there for a pimp or a pimp it. Look, this woman out here that used her 5 minutes of fame and made her a quick $200,000 selling her little, dusty little farts in a jar. Guess what? She was rushed to the hospital recently though because she had chest pains. She feared she had symptoms of a heart attack. She was now probably let loose so much. Look at her. Laid up in there. You gonna learn today. Hope that $200,000 was worth it.
Oh man, she was overworking. She
done blew a little testings out. She blew her testings out. We're gonna make this stuff up. Now I know we're making fun of this, but look, this is the reality of what people are willing to go to get it. Look, anybody can make some money out there now these days. It's just all about what you would, how far you willing to go. And then to others, some people may look at it as what that's a little extreme. To others, they may look like that ain't extreme enough. If it's turning a profit, look, people feel like it's all in kind of world right now. A lot of it is kind of setting up to be that way. The boomers have been hoarding and hiding and being stingy for so long, and people couldn't wait, especially new generation, can't wait to break loose from all that foolishness. They want to do their own thing. Void of all the control. That's why the blockchain is so universally fear and love right now. The boomers are scared. They ain't got no control over it. If they can't tax it, they got a problem with it. Right? So again, it just puts the power in the back of the hands of you guys, right? The artists, right? Again, even you can just sell, you can sell you can outlive her because she couldn't last long apparently. Right? She blew her little intestines out. Some of y'all probably do it every day naturally. You probably can outbeat her now. Right? Make you a solid meal real quick, right? NFT and everything on the way out the door. Right? And keep getting paid off of it.
You said put an NFT on it?
Everything, right? The whole shebang, they say, right?
Package deal.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying? You get the NFT and you get a jar, right? And you get authentication papers or appraisal paper, everything. She didn't use that. They got her a Louis bag. They got a little Louis bag. She then came up. Hey, got him. Couldn't make this stuff up, guys. So I'm just saying, man. So this is the world we live in, everybody. Look, what you want me to say? What? What? This is it. So the world is ready, guys. And we're just speaking on something as simple as learning the infrastructure behind all that. We're dealing in the infrastructure. Why? Because we're dealing in the blockchain, the education behind it, the use cases within that, right? In terms of the token, the digital tokens, the digital blockchain exchanges, all this stuff. We're dealing with the nuts and bolts behind the stuff, right? We're the comptrollers, so to speak. See, investing, again, it changes the game because it puts you in the driver's seat. as an average Joe, right? You got to find power in that. You got to find, ownership in knowing that you're unique, right? Because now you have the ability to grow and leverage the opportunity through these different financial assets, right? And again, you can spread them far, thin, wide, whatever. Man, look, it's an open market. It's an open market, right? It's an open market. So again, really quick here. Let's do this little so you guys can get a little a little audio value of NFTs and what it is and what it's all about here. Let me do this real quick here. Since we're over, David brought it up. I might as well kind of make it a nice little case study real quick. We'll blow through it quickly. All right, so let's watch this little video here on NFTs. Right, y'all see my screen is showing. Y'all see it?
Yeah, you good.
All right, let's do this real quick here.
It has been undervalued for decades.
There's just so.
Hold up.
A lot of digital art has been undervalued for decades.
There's just so much going on in this space right now.
CryptoPunks with purple hats, they're my favorite.
We are looking at a very frothy investment market overall.
If you're buying NFTs that are representing pieces of art, Sotheby's will sell it to you.
Increasingly, the younger generations are very comfortable purchasing and spending money on things that they cannot hold in their hands.
We're just seeing everyone get excited about it and use it and price it, when in reality, it is just a technology. It is just a tool.
An NFT is basically a new kind of file type, except instead of encoding some like video information or imagery, what you're basically doing is you are logging a particular item onto a blockchain. And it basically announces your ownership of that thing to the world.
So in order to buy or create an NFT, you essentially need to first have some kind of cryptocurrency wallet that usually comes in the form of Ethereum. So in order to actually then buy or sell said artwork or deed, you have to go on then a marketplace like OpenSea to trade it.
So NFT stands for non-fungible token.
Fungible basically means that you have an asset that is swappable for any other thing. It's a commodity like a dollar or an ounce of gold.
If I give you this dollar and take another one, it's the same thing, right? It doesn't matter which dollar I have. But when something's non-fungible, it's one of a kind. It's a piece of art that can't be replicated. It's something unique to you.
Ethereum has a cryptocurrency called Ether associated with it. But within Ethereum, one thing that makes it such a special system is that you can build new currencies, new tokens on top of them. But the NFT was an innovation beyond this that said, okay, now we have a token that you can't swap for any other token. It is a unique token. And your possession of this one token is special in some way. It represents something individual.
So the concept is when someone releases their NFT, their token that represents whatever it is, a crypto kitty or maybe an NBA highlight or a piece of art, then there's the exchange, the re-exchange value where people start auctioning it off. And that's when you see the value really go up.
NFTs have more recently been associated with artwork, but the reality is it can represent anything. And so its proponents and its bulls really see it as a symbol of what all of decentralized finance could potentially be.
So we see the concept of the NFT, as far back as 2012, but it didn't get very popular until 2017. And that's when people really started building these tokens and exchanging them. When NFTs really had their viral moment, it was this thing called crypto kitties. Again, these little cartoons, these cartoon cats that you could breed. They were one of a kind and then resold. And some of those ended up selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's when this concept really took off.
Around the same time, there was an early NFT project called CryptoPunks, where there were these sorts of pixelated images of faces that were generated, and people started buying and selling them. And now, if you own a CryptoPunk, I mean, you're basically a millionaire. These are selling for outrageous sums of money. But really, the sort of sonic boom event was when Beeple sold his $69 million sketchbook called Everydays through the Christie's auction house. This was something that everybody noticed. That remains the highest selling NFT artwork to date.
A lot of consumers see it as this get rich quick scheme, and it is for a lot of folks, but unfortunately you can make as much as $69 million, or you can make absolutely nothing and lose your money because you had to pay transaction fees and you had to buy Ether to actually create the NFT in the first place.
A particular NFT is only as valuable as somebody else is willing to pay for it. And so by nature, these things are going to happen in fads, in waves of interest.
The thing about digital content before digital scarcity was really you couldn't truly own it. Take, for example, if I bought a book on a Kindle, I could use it on the Amazon platform, but when I was done with that Kindle book or that piece of digital content, I couldn't do what I could do with it if I owned a book like I owned in the physical world. I couldn't give it to a friend. I couldn't lend it out to someone. I couldn't sell it second.
Okay, 1 second.
Is that me or did it pause?
No, that's me. I think I'm buffering. Hold up, make sure I'm good here. Yeah, I think it's just my side. I'm just buffering. 1 second. Yep, my internet kind of flipped out and came back in, so it's me. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Yeah, I got all these things open right now, and my trading screen still open from today as well, so I'm pulling a lot of bandwidth. 1 second, I think we should come back in here in a second. Here we go.
In hand. Now, all of a sudden, I could have content in the form of a digital book that actually I own. Really anything that is collectible and that can be digitized. Now that you have digital scarcity, you can really own it for the first time in a way that you couldn't before.
When you think about NFTs, when you hear about them in the press, you really hear about these huge pieces of art that have been sold, right, for $60+ million. But there are a lot of smaller NFTs you can buy. So with NBA Top Shots,
sorry about that, guy. I'm buffering a little bit. I got like a lot of screens open from earlier. I didn't close them out, but I was rushing. So you guys got to forgive me. I closed down a couple of my little brokerage out, so maybe that'll help a little bit here. 1 second. Forgive me. Let's see. Let me close this out too. All right, maybe that'll help a little bit. All right, let's close that out too. All right, let's see here. Where we at? All right, 1 second. Close out a couple screens here. I'm buffering bad right now. All right, let's see here. All right, 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second here. 1 second. Close. Yeah, let's see. What else can I close? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Close some of these screens up here as well. 1 second, family. Again, thank you for your patience. We're over here buffering. We're buffering. All right, 1 second. All right, let's see. Close that. All right, now come on now. We got to be cooking with a little grease right now. God doubt.
so you can buy some sort of highlight for, a few $100s if you want to, and then exchange it for however much. But you can also buy a LeBron James, winning basket for upwards of $300,000. So there's really quite a range.
Fortune put together a list of the top 50 NFT influencers We're calling it the Nifty 50. You've got Mark Cuban. He has been out there constantly talking up NFTs and their potential. You also have people like Grimes, the musical artist, and a lot of electronic musicians and DJs, including Justin Lau, aka Blau.
I was really fascinated with how NFTs could apply to music. So I teamed up with my art director, Slime Sunday. We created an alias called SSX Blau, and we began to just issue audiovisual art with music that I hadn't released to the public. So it was like exclusive audiovisual content that we tokenized. And the response was insane. We did over $1 million in sales in 2020 alone. So enter 2021. After the success of the single, I was like, well, what happens if we do it for an album, and let's experiment with all these other things? And we somehow were able to generate $11.7 million in the sale of my first debut album in tokenized form. I was like, whoa, there's something here that no one has really explored yet.
Are y'all hearing this?
Friends is an intellectual property that has the ambition to one day be named in the same breath as Transformers and Power Rangers and Hello Kitty. So I think of it that way, but I just view it as NFTs being my launching pad, the way Harry Potter's IP was launched through books, or the way Angry Birds was launched through an iPhone game. Friends are a series of 268 currently characters, so it's a Marvel, Disney-like universe, very vast. But I love that my origin comes from NFT. You think back to those Disney cells, right, that are collectible, or the first sketches of Bart Simpson. It's really, really cool.
I mean, some of these guys just throwing anything out there, seeing for the stick. I mean, these guys are straight charlatans. I mean, they ain't true artists. They just people who already been influenced at some point and get into the space. Now, again, this not knocking the hustle. Came out on May 12th. Some of you guys got some art out there, some scarcity, some ideas. Yet, y'all know how mainstream media is when it comes to, the ideal of the, pay to play kind of reality, where you may have really, really good, renditions and opportunity items out there, but the platforms are not, more, friendly to, towards a lot of us, right? Y'all know where I'm going, because it's already starting to be some articles out there explaining that, how a lot of, Black artists are always getting cheated, slighted, and undermined for their work. And then before you know it, someone has stolen their work, right? Because they didn't copyright it, trademark it, whatever. And now they selling it, or this, that, and the third. Right? It's been going on since like forever. But again, here's a space that's still burgeoning and still young, where you guys probably can, get in and void all that kind of stuff and through various channels, and probably see if you can make something happen. Because these guys are just sitting around sketching, literally doodling, this crazy stuff, running it through a facsimile, digitizing, pixelating it, and then selling it in collections. Like, again, digital art. Again, don't hate the game, right? All right, don't hate the play, hate the game, right? This is the reality, though. So again, it's all open market right now, and it's still young market.
And they started off between 10 and 3 Ethereum, and then Dutch auction down to a floor. Somewhere a week or two in, they were all sold out. I think 31 million in revenue in the original sales. Very substantially successful. Right now, on the secondary market, it's been extremely active. And so if you go to Crypto Slam right now, over the last
y'all probably
30
know
days,
Gary.
there's
just
been
like another,
$7.4 million worth of secondary sales of defense.
These people just
So
whatever.
it has established itself as one of the more significant projects in the space, which I'm incredibly humbled by.
You also have lots of artists. Now, these are people who have been making graphic designs, have been posting their artwork, their digital art online for a very long time, and they've built followings. They've built devoted fans who have tracked their work on places like Instagram. But, up until now, they haven't been getting compensated for that work. Now,
Hash Musk. Look at that foolishness there. Elon Musk he got some
NFTs for the first time are giving these digital artists a way to make money off of their hard work.
Oftentimes an artist will sell their piece for, let's say, $2,000, and then something happens, they become more famous, the work ends up being $2 million. They don't get any of that extra money the way the industry works now. With NFTs, they can keep collecting a 5% fee or whatever it might be each time that piece of art resells.
My partner had just started getting into 3D artwork, and they were meeting all of these 3D artists, and all of that community was just talking about NFTs and what they were going to make. And it was really intriguing, but I was seeing it through the lens of the 3D art community. So I didn't see many photographers. I didn't see many block artists when I joined the space. So I wasn't sure that it was the type of community for me. I just wasn't sure yet until I met my friend Itzel Yard, also known as Ixshells. And she was just this powerful Black woman and generative artist who really pushed me to take the leap and make space for myself in a space where I didn't see myself represented at all. I am 17. I'm 17 years old. Right now, my price, my floor for my one-of-ones is about like 1.8 ETH, and that's pretty high. That's several $1,000s. But there are a lot of people who I'd like to sell to that cannot afford that right now. So it's what a lot of artists do is they make these big edition pieces, which will maybe priced at $100 US dollars or something similar, so that many people can purchase them and have it in their collections. A lot of what's missing is education. I mean, a lot of this stuff is still very obscure, and to get started, you need to have some sort of awareness about tech and crypto in general. So I spent a lot of my time trying to educate other Black folks, mostly Black women, and I started chiefly with Black women photographers. And since then, a lot have entered the space, thankfully, and they've also been really successful. So we spent some months creating an exhibition, Juneteenth NFT exhibition, which had a public art show as well at Super Chief Gallery NFT in New York City. But it was this room of beautiful Afrofuturistic Black art shown on these big screens and projectors. And it was my debut as a curator, which made me one of the youngest curators in the NFT space. And we also auctioned off the work, and all of the work sold. It was a really great moment, and I think a beacon of hope for these artists who thought that maybe they couldn't succeed in the space.
Almost everybody collects something or buys something to show themselves. The fact that that's all going digital, no different than all the information in the world went digital, no different than the way we communicate with each other was forever changed because of digital. The buying of things and the collecting of things is about to be very understood over the next 20 years, and this is the beginning of it.
The public will begin to wrap their head around what it means to own something digital and start to consider those things special, because you're starting to see major influencers of culture accept this idea of digital scarcity and value it.
So whether NFTs are a fad or if they're here to stay is really the billion-dollar question, right? And when you think about it, we're already living in this world, right? We're already talking to people over Slack and Zoom constantly, and younger people are really living it through games like Fortnite, where that is their social life. That is the way they interact with the world, through this kind of game where you purchase these digital entities to keep on going.
What a lot of crypto investors are banking on is that NFTs are going to become a sort of natural part of this decentralized financial world. They're going to become a way to signify your fandom, to show that you're a part of a certain community, a certain tribe. It is going to be validation, proof that you belong in a particular community. So many different things can be NFTs, and yes, while aspects of it will be faddish, no doubt some of it will be here to stay.
We empower.
All righty. All right. Y'all gonna learn today. These jokers are getting paid, bro. You give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. So this is that, that younger, generation solidifying their value of, superlative value going forward into the future. Void of the boomers that want to have canvases and, and stuff like that, old school, Sotheby's art, all that kind of stuff. This is the reality. And per se, if you don't want to, if you're not an artist by nature, if you can't just doodle on a piece of paper like you saw Gary doing, and now they're in the mass over $1 million selling, cats and all this stuff, like your kids can draw better than that. Look, the space is wide open. You also can be an investor in the space, meaning you can invest in the platforms, right? That house them, right? Of course, y'all know I've been beating the drum on what? Metaverse values for a little second here. Some of the tokens I've been around before the metaverse, I guess the mystique of it has really taken off. Of course, like LRC, been an LRC since like 16, 17 cents a token. It's a main driver behind one of the NFT space on the Ethernet network. And then you got Mana, right? I was speaking about Mana, right? We caught Mana on this breakout, right? Smurf sells digital NFT land plots, right? It's OTC publicly listed company that sells metaverse land, literally metaverse land, digital land. Like the grids are just like immense because those grids are replicas of that of the what? Real grids, on a fungible side, they're just making digital grids like that now. So like the whole city of LA is on a digital grid in the metaverse. You're literally buying plots of land the same way you was buying it if you was actually in LA. It was a piece of property that's next to Snoop Dogg's house, literally his real house, that was sold in digital form. I think like over what, $100 and some odd thousand, $300 some odd $1,000. A plot of digital land. Let that marinate. I mean, this stuff is like, look, it's next level, right? This stuff is going next level. And it's just more of what we've been talking about. Again, you have to have an open mind to really get out there and push the boundaries. It's not like you really challenging it because the market is already setting up for it, right? It's already setting up for that kind of that inquisitive artist or that person who's a little bit more eccentric in that perspective. Again, it ain't hard to really get information on how to make these things come into fruition. You gotta be willing to put in a little work, to utilize it. Again, like heard one of the commentators saying, everybody has a piece of rarity or art or something like that they very value or cherish. There may be a market for it. You don't know until you try to put it out there. You don't know until you try to put it out there, right? So something to think about. Again, just one of many, different assets, asset classes, whatever that has appreciating value. The same way somebody can have a real presidential Rolex that appreciates. Now you got your digital art rendition, right, over Rolex, over Rolling. And then stole my Rolling. Look, they can't steal this one because it has a key attached to it, right? They have a digital key attached to it now, right? Unless you lose your key, right, or your wallet, right? But that's the NFT market, right? I was cracking a joke the other day. I'm always, start me a NFT for, crystals in your teeth, right? That's my new digital art right there. There you go. I'm an NFT that right there. Right? I'm be the only one in the neighborhood with real crystals all in my rocks, right? Rocks in my teeth. I'm an NFT that picture right there. All right, they're cutting up. I took that off the internet, and somebody probably already tried. But no, rarity, guys. It's all about rarity. So something to think about. Seriously, guys. I mean, you got an idea. Hey, let's go. Right? Let's go. I mean, a little rendition like this right here could be worth, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars right here. Right? This little rendition. That's my little, rendition. Now, I'm not trying to say that's an NFT, but I guess it could be classified as that. I did like a thumbnail like I always do. Y'all know I like to do my little crazy thumbnails, right? I do my little live stream, but it's a form of art. Every thumbnail that you do or something to that level that you create could be a form of that, unless it's, licensed, art or whatever, or copywritten art. But if it's not, you can digitize that. You can digitize it. Right. So all your little classic little stuff like this, you can digitize. All these right here will be NFTs. Right. Just crazy little thumbnails that people throw together. Like, of course, in my case, stuff I didn't throw it together. I'm just putting it out there in terms of thought. Right. So you can see the value in that. Right. You can see the, that aspect of it, how people, could, find that to be art. One of a kind rendition, so to speak. Right. So, yeah. So, again, hey, the market is, again, vast. This space is still wide open. Right. Don't act and think like it's too late, because it's not. Right. It is not. Right. So, that's a lot of information. I know I kind of went on a little tangent, but that's how I am when I get on these little, information chase. I like to make sure I give people, a good information. So I hope that was helpful over David. There's a lot of information there, of course, but that was a great little breakdown of the space, right? The great breakdown of the NFT space, right? And so, you can go back and replay this video later, rewind, or maybe go to some of these websites. Of course, this stuff is all, matter of fact, let me post just that one website right here on the back right here. So y'all have it in the back channel, the YouTube side. Again, you can just see how far the rabbit hole goes. Why? This is how you learn how to be thorough in this stuff. You got to be explorative. You got to be an explorer. Like, you got to be curious in the right way. Right. So, like, the way I have the curiosity for market value and market news and market data, and anything had to deal with asset classes that are accessible through exchanges or publicly traded vehicles, whatever, even those that are not yet private companies. That's what it takes. You got to have that kind of that childish exploration value within you. That'll force you to learn a lot of things that you probably had no idea that you probably would normally do, right? In order to keep you interested, because that'll make you want to do more due diligence, right? So, as I like to say, there's no such thing as permanent anything. There's only permanent interest. If you have an interest in something, guess what? The work will follow behind it, right? The research, the methodology, whatever, will follow right behind it, right? So, again, that's why stuff ain't hard to figure out. You gotta, have to have a hunger to want to get it, right? So, so Mana, again, some of those NFT sponsored housing type of platforms or tokens that cater to that space. Spoke about some. I'm just throwing out a few real quick since we're on the topic. Just on GP, so you guys can have an understanding. So, really quick here, and we'll go over a couple of them. Then we'll get ready to get off here in a second. We kind of went in a little bit here, right? We do stuff unorthodox on the show, but so LRC, right? Of course, y'all know I've been, again, I like the stock, right? But then the stock is a token, right? So this on the monthly. So let's go to the daily. All right. So LRC is unique because it deals with it's loop ring technology on the Ethernet blockchain. Excuse me, it's ERC20 value. It deals with the procurement and the staging of a lot of these NFTs, right? It has a layer value, has a layer 2 something securitization that it has to deal with you putting a value of a contractual value to a lot of this digital art in terms of NFTs, right? It does other stuff too, but it definitely deals with NFTs, right? So, again, this token was literally about 3 cents, going back in April of 2020, right? Of course, I got really excited about it when it got up towards like 13, 14, 15 cents a token. I bought some, in my Coinbase, and I bought some in another account. This one here, I was just displaying how I bought some and sold some. It doubled like really quick. It jumped up really quick. It basically went from like 16 cents, ran up to here to like 80 plus cents, then 90 cents. Pullback consolidation, now they kind of ramped up and went higher. Why? Because now people see the value within Loot Ring because it has to deal with the NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, and they're increasing their I think the gas fees are not as bad, even though it's still on Ethereum, which is still high for gas fees on Ethereum, but they'll get lower over time. But right now, that's why people are able to charge so much money through NFTs on the Ethernet technology, blockchain, because the gas fees are a little expensive. You got to pay that little, carrying cost for transaction fees. But, if you have the art, look, it's like paying capital gain tax, on a large sum of money you made in the market. It's not a problem until you have to pay it. Until you sell it, right? See how that go? So yeah, it's a and I'm not saying a problem back, a bad problem. It's just that it just that's a carrying cost fee. That's all that is, right? It's still between you and the platform that you're moving it through. That's it. That's the only middleman, right? But the market is still vast and it's still young because a lot of these tokens are still very not known or still young in essence in their own right. And they've yet to kind of really get the cracking and moving to the upside. So again, we was been in LRC since like 16, 17 cents, 20 cents a token. And here it is, went up and hit a high almost near $4 a token, literally here in November of last year. Right? Let that marinate. And it's still young. It's still young. This is not investment advice and like that. I'm not saying go buy it, but I'm in it. Just disclaimer, transparency. But that's the use case behind it. That's why I'm in it. Right. Among that, I was in it for I like the value of the network value of a loop ring. All right. Another one's Mana, right? Y'all know I've been talking about Mana. So notice that they look exactly the same kind of chart. The chart looks almost identical. It looks almost identical to LRC. Go figure. See how that worked? Somebody knows something, right? Apparently. So yeah, we caught Mana when it broke out. So it was down here like 70 cents back in October, right? Literally a day or two after my birthday. It broke out. I was all over it. I think I was posting in the group that whole entire, couple days that it was breaking out. Literally. I was posting like back to back. People like, man, why did brother posting this stuff back to back? But I sat there and watched it go from like 70. I was in at it. And it went from 70 all the way up to over like $5 and change, whatever, in like 2 or 3 days. I was just posting it back to back. Like, is that $3 now? Is that $2 now? Is that, whatever? It was crazy. Like, it was just crazy. It's like, man, this stuff is crazy. And it was all attached to the value of the metaverse, right? Mana obviously deals with Decentraland. Decentraland was the first authenticated value of the metaverse already in play. Sims, meets, NFT Ethereum blockchain 2.0, the new version of it, right? Grand Theft Auto on steroids through the value of, again, people being able to create their own, virtual reality on this, Decentraland, platform, Mana. And who knew? All of a sudden now it's like, literally going crazy. And it's still, in a lot of ways, it's still young. It's still a young, burgeoning perspective. And the Facebook whole thing with metaverse is just getting started. Oculus, Rift, and all that stuff, it's just getting started. These plots of land been selling for $88,000, $400,000, $1 million for plots of land in the metaverse. Mana, many others. Another one, XYO, right? XYO, right? Let me pull that up really quick here. If my thing at right here, XYO, right? XYO. Oh, come on, man! I closed a lot of screens, computer, but I just know I need to reset it. Man, I've been hanging all day. I've been grinding today. I've traded like 4 accounts today. I had my computer singing, boy, and cell phone, everything. Man, my doggone RAM probably bleeding right now. Like, God, dog, bro, give me a break. All right, let me see if it just slow the load real quick. Give it a minute. Say, wait for it. Like, bro. Hold up. Come on, man. All right, it's going at that, but you can see it from the screen. But charts look almost exactly like the Mana and the LRC. Go figure. Looks almost identical. So, because they're all in the same space, right? I'm just showing you similar. I could make this stuff up. I tell people I ain't making this stuff up, right? I'm just showing you exactly how it's set up. Right? I do the KuCoin one since Coinbase acting retarded, but it's around the same price, like 3 cents, a token. This thing shot up. We saw it when it broke out, based from 3 cents and went all the way up here to like near 8 cents. Like big old rocket, rocket upside. We talking about 3 pennies, like 3 pennies. still has a lot of growth potential ahead of it. And he's been pulling back lately, almost getting it oversold here on the daily chart. Of course, again, Bitcoin and space getting beat up a little bit right now. Right, you see the levels of support already right here, clear as day. Right, clearly you see them there. So it ain't like it's rocket science. Excuse me, in that report. In that regard, far as being able to chart it properly, right, and know some potential levels here. Right, so still young space. Let's see, Smurf. Right, Smurf is on the OTC market. So your regular stock. Let's go to Smurf. OTC tokens.com. See tokens.com. They actually deal with digital real estate. Digital real estate in the metaverse. Could make this stuff up. Not making it up. Let me do this here. Maybe that'll help. There we go. God, dog. Computer crying right now. I know it's a signal saying, man, get off the internet, man. Go, let me, power me down and power me back up. Notice that before this stuff really, this NFT stuff and digital land stuff really became a real big, fad, if you want to call it that. Look at the volume that this stock had. This is actual stock on the OTC market. Look at the volume that it had before this space kicked off and became a reality. Since then, look at the volume came in out of nowhere. See this, all this right here, guys? All this right here has to deal with the crypto, metaverse, all that stuff like that now. Like everybody all in now in this space. All of a sudden, they got a new lease on life. The stock got a new lease on life, and look at the volume. Came out of nowhere. And the stock just went to ramping up. Pattern looks the same as Mana, LRC, XYO, all those. Could make this stuff up. Y'all see it. I'm not making this stuff up. Y'all see it. And it's just getting started in its own way. So token sitting there, that's not even tokens of stock, actually. Sitting at $1.77. Thing came from way down here, at 12 cents, whatever. And it's like no volume. Just now that they're selling real estate on their platform, tokens.com, guess what? New lease on life. New lease on life. So I just threw around a few of them to y'all again. Hint, hint, wink, wink, right? Just hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah, Smurf.com, OTC market, Mana, XYO, LRC. And there's a few of them out there too as well. But for what it's worth, of course, I'm just, I want to put a few of them out there for the fam, right? Go back and rewind the video, right? You might want to go back and rewind the video. What's going on, brother? Snotball, see in the building. Does Snotball in the building? Yeah, you say you're late. We was going in a little bit. We're trying to fill in the gaps a little bit, right? Just fill in the gaps a little bit here, right? So yeah, guys. So again, you got some to work with here, guys. I'm just, trying to help bring some flavor to this stuff, right? Bring truth to power to this, because again, this is not speculative value of information. This is all information that could be research primary back to sources, right? Again, that's the reality of this. Why I love what I do, because we work with real information. We don't do a whole lot of conjecture and feelings and emotional, conjecture. We deal with, information. It's either going to stand on something or it's not, right? That's the fundamental research behind what we do, right? We track this data for a reason. Right. And if there's a monetary gain that could be acquiesced from it, then guess what? We're there. If we find value in it, we're there. All right. So that's why I love this stuff, because it's endless. And again, you're talking about going into the world already as a curator of information. Why? Because you get a chance to see a lot of this stuff first before most people do in the Main Street world. Why? Because you track it by way of your investment, right? Either directly or indirectly, you will be in the space and hear about it in passing or whatever, because that's what the market does. It puts you in a lot of different portals and places where you ordinarily wouldn't be on the average, and you get to see a lot of innovation coming in fruition in startup phase and beta phase and and proof of concept phase before you even become a proof of. This stuff is crazy, right? You're getting it first. You see, it'd be old by the time the consumer hits it. That's how crazy. You get to see it first, and it's evolution. By the time the consumer get it, it's already old. You on to the next, whatever. That's what being an investor gives you in terms of an advantage. Then that of just a regular consumer sitting around waiting to consume stuff all the time. Let that marinate for a moment. All right. So that's it, guys. So again, we got something to work with. I'm just saying, utilize it, right? Utilize the think tank, utilize, circles who are people who, move in these spaces, who's excited about, this information, who's excited about the growth of the future and digital art, just whatever it is, right? The blockchain as a whole, right? Using it as a tapestry of sort, right? A lot of the different, saturations of colors and the fabric, all this stuff, the intricate value of it is what I'm talking about here. That's how you make the money. Go a little deeper, right? Don't be shallow in your thoughts. Dig a little deeper, right? Don't be afraid of, reading these white papers and lengthy publications and, go through it. You'll learn so much, just by doing it. Cost you nothing, right? Cost you nothing, right? Cost you nothing, right? Right. So get excited for that, guys. So, outside of that, you got the real tangible commodity fungible tokens out there. Get some gold, get some silver, right? Gold and silver getting ready to break out. Right. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Not investment advice, but we know the markets are moving from growth tech stocks to value plays and commodity values that has a better inflation hedge against all this, cheap money. Gold is definitely one of those things that was sitting around getting, getting rocked to sleep literally all of 2021 and is yet to break out. So definitely keep an eye on the commodity market, especially when it comes to metals, right? Silver probably even have a bigger breakout than gold. Why? Because it's cheaper and people feel like they can get more for less. So just something to think about as well, even on that perspective, right? Amongst other things as well, of course, right? Because inflation obviously drives the price of commodities up and you can get more bang for your buck because of that rarity and scarcity, even in inflation. See how that works? Inflation even drives up scarcity in fungible items. The market is crazy in a good way. Gotta love this stuff. So right now, the future market's getting hit across the head right here before we get ready to roll up out of here this evening here. We're starting to see exactly what we saw earlier today in terms of continuation of, weakness because of that news that came out.
But I was going to ask you to pull up the futures and then pull up bar chart so I can see the option prices on the SPY and Tesla.
Yeah, so definitely, as you see here, this is the futures market at this moment in current time here, 11:50 hour. 10 minutes before 12 o'clock hour here. Got maybe about 2 hours and 10 minutes for the London session kick in turn the European market get ready to move, move the mountains and move markets, right? After dealing with what we dealt with. I'm pretty sure the Asian markets are getting hit across the head. I'm almost guaranteed. There it is. Yep, Nikkei down. Look at Nikkei down 772 points. God, they're killing the Japanese market, right? Obviously, right? Because they're dealing with COVID over there too, the Omicron and the new virus, and they starting to shut down actual aspects in China right now. True story. They're actually doing some shutdowns over there. America's scared. They don't want that to happen again. That's why they're trying to fight, get all these CDC, FDA stuff revised and revamped, and they know that'll really hurt the economy in their mind in terms of Joe Biden president. So they're in a rock and hard place right now, and the Fed made it worse. They exacerbated by printing all this money. Man, you got to love, this is a perfect storm, but this is how wealthy people get richer. Why? Because they breed and feed off of ash and chaos and destruction. And if you don't understand that by now, I don't know what to tell you. This is how they become wealthy. They feed off everybody's worry and fear. You buy more things and consume things that you normally wouldn't buy when you in a state of, panic, fear, hesitation, FUD, whatever, anxiety, and rich people happy to supply it to you and for you, and with a higher market price. Because now they have the privilege to do that through inflation. See how the Fed backed you into a corner twofold, priced you out the market and made you pay expensive prices for it. Couldn't make this stuff up. Nikkei getting hit across the head. The Hang Seng with the Chinese market getting hit across the head right now. It's down a whole 1%, 1.14%. 264 points, 76.50 on the Nikkei. Again, the Kospi, all that stuff. Even Korean market, all these little markets down here. The Singapore MSCI, MSCI, all these markets here again in the Asian sector just getting hit. Taiwan, all that red. You see, as you see it, that's because they're following the suit of what we did earlier today in our market. Most of the markets here are kind of like the scenario where if American markets catch a cold, a lot of these other more subsidiary markets, they end up catching the flu, right? Because our market is the most liquid one, it's the most highly prized possession. So a lot of not that it happens all the time, but for the most part, in this case, because of the news with the Fed, our central banker is the major central banker, right? He's like the grand poobah central bankers, the American Fed president, right? So all the central bankers around the world kowtow to Jerome Powell. Why? Because he has the most expensive market that he has to oversee. So they watch what we do, and if we catch a cold, they get the pneumonia. That's how that works. The FTSE MIB, crush the DAX, right? The CAC for the FTSE 100, the Swiss Bank, the IBEX. I mean, we got look. Y'all get it by now. So look for the market to really get crazy. So 2 o'clock, a.m. when the London session kicks in, we'll see exactly how that, transpires too. If they open up with weakness, that's going to really hurt our market going into the 4 a.m. opening session. Right. So yeah, it's starting to get a little crazy out there, but we'll see. Right. But we know the algos are programmed to buy the dip and be goofy, and they'll try to put a band-aid on a gaping, gushing wound if they can, because that's what greedy, habits have produced in this heavily, liquid market that the Feds have induced through their printing all this fake fiat currency. They've produced that kind of market where it's like it's tough on the market doing wrong. And tens of twos are being shaped to the point where the yield is starting to flatten out. You may have a yield inversion if they don't get behind this, inflation really bad. The 10-year yield ripped today. It ripped yesterday, but it ripped even more, even so today, in a way where it really put some fear inside of the tech market. That's why tech was coming down, because the 10-year yield was rampant. We hit like 1.7, I think, at the peak. And it was just down to like 1.4 literally about a week ago. Let that marinate. Y'all know how much it takes for the yield to move up that much, especially the 10-year? That means cheap money is being priced at a higher valuation now. That means they're getting priced out now. They can't get no more of them cheap dollars. It's trying to go up and kind of, repair itself organically, and the Feds keep trying to artificially subdue it. They're in trouble now. They can't stop it. The 10-year yield is out the bag. Look at it, 1.17 right now. See, 1.717 right now while we talking. Almost up another, percent plus, 0.85% right now. That's a lot for the yield. The 10-year yield, that's a lot. That's a lot. Right? Some of you guys may be still learning that, but, we talk about it a lot, but we're going to keep talking about it where we can to help you get more familiar and acquainted with it. The 10-year yield is responsible for a lot of the cheap money that Wall Street, uses as far as being able to finance debt, borrow money against, their books and this stuff like that, their book value. They're rated under the 10-year yield. Like when you buy a house, you get rated under the 30-year fixed mortgage rate. Well, a lot of the Wall Street, for their company's value, they get rated under the 10-year value. That's why that's the most important yield to watch if you're an investor, is the 10-year yield. Moment of silence right there. Y'all need to let that marinate for a moment, because that's why you'll know how to watch this to get more acquainted with it. Because if this yield is rampant and going higher, that means a lot of the tech stocks are going to be in trouble. Why? Because they borrowed the most money in that value of the cheap yield renaissance that the Feds presented under COVID, and it's going to hurt them now that repay fee will possibly be higher than what they borrowed it for in the low interest rate environment. So their stocks are not necessarily that attractive in that environment of a higher yield. The value plays are at that point, right? Because the stock prices are a lot cheaper. Is my point. Like stocks like $20, $30, Cheesecake Factory, all that silliness. Like, all right, y'all get it. But we talked about it before. So that's it. So commodities again, like oil down a whole 1.28%. So it's again taken to the woodshed. Natural gas up by because we got a snowstorm that just dumped recently on the East Coast. So that naturally natural gas is up. And there's a big issue with the whole natural gas in Russia and Germany issue right now. So yeah, natural gas is eating a little bit. Gold down slightly because of market overall, silver, copper, even Bitcoin down. So everybody get hit, right? So ain't nobody spared. Bitcoin down to this, this point of support. We talked about that 42,000 already several times. Watch 42,000, guys. We basically teetering on the edge of it right now. So 42,000 major line in the sand. Keep your eye on that. Whatever, right? Saying that was the other metaverse token there. I forgot to mention that was Sand. SAND. Keep your eye on Sand as well, guys. Sand is another metaverse token. Sand. SAND. All right. So same with the forward market all over the place, because our USD dollar was rampant earlier, then it pulled back finally. So that's why the forex market probably getting a little wacky right now, because the USD pulled back a little bit today. Right, which is weird because everything was pulling back when it was rampant earlier. The market just crazy right now. So whatever, leave it to me to kind of sit here, be all night trying to explain it. But y'all get it. Y'all hung around me enough to know exactly what I'm talking about to a degree. And you'll learn more as you hang around and listen to this stuff, because you can always come behind me and do your own research. Right. So yeah. So really quick here, bro. Over Jeremy asked about SPY contracts, so we'll look at that real quick here. And Tesla, then we kind of get ready to wind it down for the evening here, getting close to the midnight hour. We're burning the candles on both ends, and that's good because this is actionable knowledge. This is just not conversation. This is actionable intel and knowledge that can be applied to markets. That's why I love what I do. And that's why I love y'all. right? Because y'all have an interest in wanting to get, sharp at this too. So still sharp and still, right? We all in this together on bond 2 for a reason, right? So as of, ODT today, right? 0, days to expiration, which was today. These are the contracts that ended out today. So we saw put the call ratio very crazy, right? So you basically had, about a near, the 15, 17%, 1.35. Just put that one. I'm about to say 1.45, but it's right here anyway. You see it. So 1.3 put the call ratio in there in terms of put the calls that were bought, right? So obviously the put overshadowed the calls today. Obviously, when it started pulling back, most people start buying intraday, put buys to short the market to the downside. Of course, I was one of them, right? I crushed the market today in my own little right. Was fortunate to kind of walk away with a nice little bag across several accounts today. The put interest is obviously even higher than that of the call interest. Why? Because people are getting a little fearful, as they should, because we've been riding the gravy train for a little while. Let the market cool off a little bit. Let it correct naturally, if it will. I got to say if, because the markets are crazy. So what contract in particular, over Jeremy, in particular, or you just looking? Any one particular over Jeremy? Any contract in particular that you want to look at? You might be just any one of my guests. All right. So, but as of the bar chart, let me go over there real quick. I'm sorry. Really quick, go to bar chart. Let's see really quick here. 1 second. Bear with me, family. There we go. So here on bar chart, here's your flow chart for ODT today, meaning 0 days to expiration. And these were, again, like I was talking about earlier, I didn't have a screen share, my bad. This was your put the call ratio down here. And here's your open interest. So again, the puts definitely rocked the market today. 1.52 on the open interest and 1.35 on the intraday call buys and whatever put buys. Now going into Friday, right? Let's see if anybody front running potential more weakness going into Friday. Potentially, it can change. We don't know. This is still just kind of reading the tea leaves. As of now, we're at 1.51 already on the put side. So people are really trying to front run the potential to the downside. Now, we don't know if it's going to pull back or not, but just by way of following the money, as we're taught and trained to do, this is an indication that people are feeling more bearish than they are bullish. And I think today's MOC ended up with there was more selling on the sell side than there was on the buy side, which is a rarity because that rarely has, so far this year, we've been getting more buys and sell, obviously because of optimistic new year. But today definitely was a sell the market MOC today, right? So I guess it's following through in the options contract. Look at the puts, right? Intraday puts that came in today, going in for Friday expiration, 700,000 plus contracts, 572 on the put open interest. So these people are already sitting in them. Actually, on one of them because I had me some ones that were bought literally Tuesday to expire on Friday, sitting in a couple of them too, and they printed today, sold some, held some. Right, so there you go. Far as where the market ended up today, which is around 468 and change, right? 469, 468. That's why you see a little heavy buying at that point. 42,000 contracts there, 10,000 open interest, and they starting now by the 465. Look at the 465 got 30,000 contracts came in today. Them contracts picked up a whole 753% today. 753% today. That means that's 753% of your notional value that you put into the stock. Yeah, that part. Remember I told y'all earlier how you could have made your quick little, $600, $700, $800, $900 in that last 3 hours of the market? I wasn't making that up. Right? And these were out of the money ones like that too. Way out the money. Some of them were a lot more because this always turns over a lot faster during the intraday. But this is just what they call resting or settling price and value. But these numbers were all over the place today. But these are still humongous gains, 500%, 700%, 800%. Huge gains throughout the day when the market, began to kind of fall down. And we was all over it. I definitely know I was. And I'm posting like about 30 million times today. I know y'all probably tired of me posting in all across the little different groups today. But I had some time today because I was sitting in front of the screen for the most part all day today. So I was trading across 4 different accounts. Monitoring, multitasking, making things happen. And I would just, like I always do when I do this, I do it in the case study, value, of course. Y'all know how I am. I like to show people, the fruit of our work. What are our thoughts? What are, what led to it, what was my thesis, and so I could show people how to do a little something strange with a little piece of chain, because that's a part of this too, where people who starting to figure out it doesn't require a whole lot to do a whole lot if you're smart and strategic. That's one of our disciplinary values that we use. So man, it was so crazy. I had like $20 contracts in some of the stocks, and they end up printing over like 300-400%. Like $20 turned into like $140-$50, $130-$40 off $20 in some of the contracts I was in. Let that marinate. 20 into 130, $140. See, that's why I love this stuff. This is why I love this stuff, right? So no secret there again, how people utilize these markets in moments like this, be it binary events or not, whatever. I don't make the rules of the game. I just play by it, right? And I understand that this is not me using, Russian roulette. I'm putting together a thesis, a strategy. I'm using the data, I'm information, technicals. I use all that to formulate a thesis, and I execute, with data understanding, executive decision making on the fly, using this digital platform. Right. So I love this stuff. So the SP 500 definitely showing weakness going into Friday. It could easily change, but as now a lot of the news that's coming out, the new virus, the issues with stimulus in terms of the infrastructure bill, still kind of being stonewalled by Manchin, the whole issue with, it's just so much going on right now. And we got the reunion of the insurrection coming up on the January the 6th. To tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of the Capitol riot insurrection. Moment of silence for that, right? It only seems like it's been a whole year since that riot on Washington. Well, tomorrow is the reunion. So Washington is starting to beef up security around here, because y'all know I'm in the DMV area here. So yeah, they're trying to beef up security. Matter of fact, Trump had a speech that he was supposed to give tomorrow. His people forced him to cancel it. Why? Because they still know it's bad press on his image, because they still hold him responsible for it. He was trying to do a speech on that day, like, duh, who's your PR people, bro? Sit down somewhere. Right? You can't be that goofy. You can't be that goofy, bro. These people still feel some kind of way about that, boy. Look, that was crazy. Trump right now is probably somewhere looking like that right here. You mean I can't do my speech? Bruh, I can't do my speech tomorrow? No, bro, that wound's still fresh right now. It's still fresh. Sit down, Trump. All right? Because a lot of people right now feel like, Trump need to be like this right here, right now. They feel like he need to be in prison. Him and they're keeping it real, right? They're keeping it real. Y'all know I pick fun of everybody buying too, so don't get any feelings if you're a Trump fan. I don't do, political games, so I'm not Republican or Democrat. So I get to go in on all of them, right? I get to go in on all of them. Biden, all of them. I go in on all of them, right? All of them charlatans. But anyway, so yeah, so that's that. So as you can see here, that's the contracts for Tesla. Tesla obviously got hit across the head. It got up over 1,200, and now it's pulling back. It was obvious, right? The production numbers served for it, just options. They just option day traded the mess out of Tesla off that. Those production numbers. That's all it was. Hate, like, love, indifferent to it. That was an inorganic move. The thing picked up over 170 points in one intraday session. Come on, seriously? So that's why it pulled back. It had to pull back. And a notable one at that. Now it gets a chance to test some real notable points of support if it bounces and holds at some areas of key entry 9, like 980, 990, somewhere around there, and a few other. Then that shows you the strength of the bulls. If not, they still, still riding the gravy train. The stock is still overvalued. We know that, but Tesla's not that kind of play that you could just naturally value their company based on everybody else. Why? Because they're doing something that most people are yet to kind of really catch up to quite, yet. Right. So, we can be on for days talk about that, but we have talked about it before. So go back and look at some of the old videos. But yeah. So right now, Tesla put the call ratio, I'm pretty sure it's looking a little crazy right now. Yeah. See people trying to buy the dip in Tesla. Why? Because that pullback, these are very cult-minded followers that follow Tesla for a reason. Obviously, Elon Musk is their cult leader. So just like AMC, they're very, emotional when Tesla stock pulls back after making such big gains like that. They feel like they automatically should start buying the dip for it. So a lot of people start loading up on the calls. Obviously, in this case, you see here that they real heavy at the $1,100 calls. Those contracts right now are still at $15 right now. That's like $1,500 for a contract. 12,000 those contracts came out today, intraday. The more Tesla probably pull back, the more people start buying that $1,100 contract. Couldn't make this stuff up. It costs you $1,500 for a contract though, per contract. All right. So, and this is just near the money. So let's go out maybe 50 strikes, right? So we put a little bit more distance because you could buy a contract in Tesla $200 out from the money and still make money on it with the level of volume, liquidity, and the implied volatility that it typically has. Let's go to the 1,200. Look at the $1,200 strike. I'm pretty sure it's probably got some weight on the 1,200. I'm pretty sure. Yep, look, 56,000 contracts. 56,000 contracts on the $1,200 calls. They cost you $1.20. So that means if Tesla was to get a bounce tomorrow, which it don't look like it, but 10-year yield ripping, right? And the future's bad down. Tesla might be in for a little bit more pain. Unless Elon can come up with a little tweet or something tonight or in the morning, boys. It might get a little ugly as of now, quote unquote, as of now. But look at that. 56,000 of those contracts came in today before the bell at $1.20. That probably going to get wiped out tomorrow. Possibly. We don't know yet, but yeah. Tesla's, liquid still, and people even buying a $13.50 contract. Look at that. The contract cost 17 cents a piece, right? 113 of them was bought today. Tesla be paying way even out this far out the money, right? Because it's a very volatile stock. The puts definitely were the winners today. They ate really well. They ate really well today on the put side. Man, they ate good. So when you see stuff like that, even though these numbers are based upon, closing price, not what it was intraday at the peak to trough, but like the 1090 contract, look how much it gained today. It gained $15 today. Meaning this thing was $15 cheaper today. And it ended at $22.10. I mean, crazy gains. So basically, if you pay what was it? Like $5 a plus for that contract at the peak today, meaning when the stock was trading up there, up near $1,200 the previous day, and you bought the 1090 contracts, they cost you for that 1090 roughly around about $7-8 for that contract, about $7 for that contract, meaning about $700. Well, that $700 gained over 200% today. So when you do the math on that, what's 200% times 700? So that basically 700, doubled up, right? So 700, right? Like $2,800. So $700 turned into like $2,800 and change. 700 turned into like $2,800 plus. Like somebody, that's per contract, mind you, per contract. $2,800 from 700. See, that's why, bruh. That's why we love this stuff. Right? Right. Oh, brother, say I don't understand the metaverse. I'm gonna keep talking about the metaverse too. I'm gonna go back over it again, brother the Snotball. I know you came in late, but we talked about it a little bit earlier. But I'm gonna do some kind of like, I guess you want to call it a special segment on it. Matter of fact, I was over there with hanging out with brother Danny the other day. True story, y'all know him on the NBK side of the house, right? Y'all know about NBK family. And he wanted to get more information on the NFTs and metaverse stuff too. So I told him, I'm gonna hook up with him, maybe do a collab, kind of give some information on the metaverse and NFTs with him too. So stay tuned to that. I'll let you know when we get ready to do that. Right now, you can go see if we can find NBK himself, right? Because he's been tearing the crypto space up and he's just been killing it. he got lost in all that country. So he's like, you don't even see NBK no more, right? He out there doing this thing. Shout out to NBK, right? So yeah, so we'll get into that, right? We'll definitely get into that. No problem, brother. More the truth. I got you, right? We're gonna definitely keep talking about it like we always do, just in passing. But we'll do some special segments on it, like we did earlier today, a little bit. Kind of keep our wheels, turning and greased up properly to stay ahead of the information because it's where we're going. Right? Hate, like, love it, indifferent to it. You thought playing games like Grand Theft Auto was the joint back in the day because I come from that era. Right, Grand Theft Auto 1, that was like the metaverse on steroids. Not what a new metaverse is like Grand Theft Auto on steroids, not because it's even next level with it now. But that will ever be the first rendition of what we consider to be a real valuable metaverse. Why? Because it's like an endless virtual reality, game console value game where you could do everything, right? Do everything, right? Everything, right? And no singular path to having fun through that game. But yeah, we talked about it before. But anyway, but yeah, so that's what we're looking like for Tesla. And SPY, of course, over, Jeremy asked about that. So kind of just doing a little backstory on those a little bit. You kind of see what's going on with the stocks. Of course, you saw the chart on the SPY earlier. On the chart we didn't look at was Tesla, but you pretty much know what's going on for the most part. Let me go over there really quick and pull up Tesla's technical chart, and we can look at the chart and see exactly some of the similarities that we're talking about for the option flow market, because it's going to reflect that in terms of the pullback. And there you go. On the daily chart, you see clearly what's happening here. You got up at the gun line, the linear regression line, the middle line, the midline, mean line, whatever. And, you kind of rolled over from there, right? Literally not too far off the all-time high. And Tesla sitting up here, above that 1241, 1250 area, close to that, whatever, right? As you see there, to my all-time highs on Tesla, just skyrocketing straight up. Just recently held this big pull up here off the linear regression, mean line here, just ramped up high, got outside the band, and now you pulling back. That's why I got that baby there, right? They went half on the baby, right? Elon went half on the baby with the shareholders, right? And they got that big ramp up like they needed to, right? Separated from the 200-day moving average. All of y'all know that's a what? Infraction against the stock. That means the stock gonna pull back some, because the moving averages act like magnets. It was trying to pull it back towards that what? Closer towards that moving average. As you see, even the 20-day, it lifted off from that, got separated from it, and that's why I pulled back towards it, right? This stuff ain't hard when you learn how to read the charts in relation to some of these moving averages. It shows you the strength or the froth or the overboughtness of stocks when they get a little too ahead of themselves. In this case, obviously it did, because it separated really hard away from that moving average. And that was your kind of peak value there outside the band, all that. And so that distance between here to here was very, very obvious, right? Why? And you look at that from that axis. Look what the gap up there. Couldn't make this stuff up. Look at that gap right there. 908, right? Couldn't make this stuff up. Now, at that point, now it has pulled back since then and filled that gap. See, now it's legitimate because it closed that gap. See that gap right there? It came back, closed that gap, and now it made its new run back up. Now it's trying to, if it can, stay away from testing this 1030, right? We got close to it this evening, right? Maybe testing the moving average, just a way to bounce off of it, whatever. Even possibly down in the 930s, right? Possibly it can. Who knows? There's a little gap down there, right? But we'll see. But as of now, the weakness of the broader market in the tech sector, because the 10-year yield is ripping and the broader market is pulling back a little bit. Some growth stocks are getting hit. While some value stocks are ripping now, Tesla might be one of the ones to pull back a little bit, collect. Now, it still will be in a bearish setting. Why? Because look at the higher lows. Essentially, if you don't break this, 880, everybody looking at 880, 890 area, it still will be, they call on fair value gain. It's still be in fair value gain mode, because it still recognized that, that value there in relation to this gap fill here. This one right here, this guy right here at the bottom of the regression band. All that would be just another higher low to keep stock in a bullish flag to try to ramp to go higher. And they beat production numbers really good. So earnings coming up 9 times out of 10. But that extra beat that they did on the production numbers for December, like over 300,000 vehicles, that number going to translate into straight profit. That's one thing about the EVs. Whatever they move in terms of units, that really goes towards the profit, right? There's no cooking the books where you could, but it's more direct sales, right? So that's going to look good for the earnings. So if they get the thing pulling back a little bit, maybe test that 900, 907, which would be great if it would, but if was a feel, it would look really good going into earnings. But the broader market still may be in trouble at that point. We don't know, because tech is starting to get hit. That's what makes this stuff crazy. Now, I told y'all that 2022 going to be a market of, you're going to have to really put in some work to find winners this year. It ain't going to be as easy as it was last year in 2020, because the Fed money is drying up. But we was already prepared for this, because we talked about value stocks way back in 2020. We did. Go look at the videos. We ain't making this stuff up. We were already on this stuff. And we talked about it all in 2021 about when the rotation happens, in these cyclical plays, what to look for. Go look them up. So it's not like we unprepared. Just, it's new to a lot of people who came in late, meaning, they were buying the market a little bit more later than, more people were already in it last year or year before. So we know our pivot points already, what to look for our support resistance. And not hard to learn, but just be cautious, be patient, be prudent, and you'll get caught up and briefed the way you need to, and you'll be well. You'll be fine. Right? As you see, we go to work on this channel. We unbiased over here. Y'all notice that we unbiased channel. Every time we crank this channel up, we go to work. We're gonna talk about this stuff in a very direct way. We don't pump stuff. We're gonna keep it 100. We're gonna tell the truth where the government will not, right? Where the market will not. We're gonna tell you the truth. Void of the biases, even though we know the government trash, but we still got to be, true to the value of how the game works, because our money is wrapped up into it, right? Emotions aside, money don't care about your emotions. They only care about, where it can hide at it. And if Wall Street feel greedy about certain assets, then that's how it goes. You got to understand that the trend is your friend. Stay within the flow of the money. You'll be fine. If the money flow is falling to the downside because the market's pulling back, guess what? Short the market, hedge, right? All my trades today were definitely shorts. Obviously, I shorted everything, right? Crushed it too. But that's the name of the game. I play by the rules. I don't make them. All right. So that's it. So that's what you're looking like for us tomorrow, guys. So we'll see. So, a lot of information covered today. Again, I think we hit some really good, really good topics, right? Good sanguine discussion, right? Built with a lot of optimism and opportunity in terms of some of the metaverse and NFT stuff, and just quick little history lesson on some of that stuff, and we'll talk more about it as days and months and years come, obviously, right? Because we have a vested interest in this space as well, like everybody else. So we look forward to being able to share this stuff with you guys and hear you guys' ideas about this stuff in the same breath, right? It does take a village. It takes a village, right? So yeah, that's about it. So before I get ready to close it down, so the panel, we got, the family still in there holding it down, man. The family still in here holding it down on the panel tonight. Boy, look, I got y'all joking burning a minute though. Ain't nothing new to y'all though. But so before we close out, guys, y'all got any, thing y'all want to talk about? Close out, anything to say? Any of the panel that's able to talk. I know it's late. Some of y'all probably
You did a
boo.
great presentation. Thank you so much. Oh, hey.
Thank you, Sister Angie. We try to, keep it, applicable to everybody, right? Because we're trying to get the young kids involved too. So when we talk, even I know I talk fast. I'm from the South. Y'all gotta, forgive me. But we try to put this information out in a way where you can, transcribe it to the younger generation, because they're gonna be the ones to take ownership of this. It's best to get them excited about it now. Why? Because it's no excuse. Why? Because I can show you 6-year-olds that made NFTs. I can show you 7-year-olds that have made NFTs and made tens of thousands and $100,000. We just showed you a 12-year-old. She had already made over $6 million just by drawing her long neck art and turned into digital art, and she made over $6 million. Yeah, I want young kids to get excited about this, right? Especially if they got any kind of form of artistic side to them too. This is great, right? You can direct them to these kind of reality, right? To where to go, meaning the publication, even to the channel, whatever. You can direct them, and we can help them out.
Thanks so much. I got a teenage skeptic over here. He's like, how much they could take from you with NFT? I'm like, save me, because he's an artist. I'm definitely gonna keep encouraging him to do it.
Yeah, look, you just saw the video. I ain't making this stuff up. You saw it, so I ain't gotta say. Just show him that video.
No, not you. I've been showing him videos and stuff. He's still skeptical, but he's gonna.
Yeah, take him to that Fortune article, that one they just did in Fortune, so he can see it. See it from that perspective as an artist. Matter of fact, let me post that link in there. I posted it before. I'm gonna post it again. I'm gonna post it over here in the group chat. Yeah, they have him click on that right there. Let them watch the little video, and yeah.
Yeah, trying to get them started. There's a few artists in the house here, so.
Yeah, kids get it naturally too, and then y'all know definitely their markets always blow up, right? Because people like us, the awe effect. Oh,
he's on Discord all day. I said you better start asking those kids how they're making their money, because you putting a lot into there. So
yeah, definitely.
Those
pay it
people you're
forward.
talking to, they're all making money on there. Now he's gonna understand.
I already tell you, numbers don't lie. That's one thing you can't deny. Numbers don't lie. Either when it seem to be bat crap crazy, numbers don't lie. Meaning, if the money going there, then it is what it is. Ain't nothing you can do to stop it. and it's all 100% by the book, you know. So yeah,
He shared his art on there. I said, you might not see a value in it, but whoever you sharing it with, they'll know.
they sure will, because they understand it, you know, in that same perspective. You know, they put in the work to learn it, and it ain't hard, you know, to really put out some, you know. Again, y'all saw how them joker was just drawing stuff on the fly and turn it into an NFT. Just little, you know, digital chopper work. You know, like it's crazy out there. It couldn't make this stuff up, man. These jokers, man, they just capitalizing the moment. You know, can't hate the player.
Basically saying anything you can imagine has value, you know, because they're trying to reproduce it in the metaverse. So everything that you can imagine has value. They're trying to teach the AI how to think like a human. So they'll go to the most outlandish thoughts that you have.
That's exactly what they're doing. And it's all experiment too. That's what's crazy about it.
Right.
But they collect the
Things that
data
are
like
most
crazy.
hidden. Yeah.
They're harboring data.
Yes.
But you know, we in now at this point, we could do, because you know, of course something you could do. You just
we could bank on it for now.
Yeah, but just reality.
Hold on. One of my friends, one of the connects, she was saying how you can start your own bank with your name. I guess that's basically what it is. I guess it has to do with creating your own, you know.
But you buy plots of land on there, and if you could digitize that same way.
Exactly.
The same way you do like staking and all that stuff, the same thing. Or you do loaning, you loan your crypto out, you know, through these exchanges. It's just another form of a banker. It's crazy.
Start your own bank with just a name. You don't even, I don't think, you don't need your ID, just your name. I have to get more information on that though.
Yeah, the world is look at it. So oyster out there still. Don't let them tell you that all the good ideas have been taken. They have not. And then a platform where you can go and explore that and exploit those opportunities too, because of the new technology. Of course, now the metaverse being still a version of thing that people want to get in there. And look, it's easy. Like I always tell people, there's always generational trends that come in and out of the moments in life. If you're ready, you be ready. If you quote unquote feel like you missed the bus and people still making money, I say you just yet to get in the game. Because if people still profiting, that means somebody must be, it still must be an opportunity out there, enough of it out there, I should say. So don't give up and stay hungry and stay humbled and, keep steering them in that direction so they can get it.
Thank you.
So I love it. So shout out to you, Sister Angie, and everybody out there again that, again, we know when we say truth to power, exactly what we talk about, right? So we can source it back to something, some kind of fundamental, source value. So it's not just conjecture again and emotions and just talking, right? The market is definitely open for, new virgin ideas. In a way they can put some capital behind it, like SoftBank and all that stuff. They ready. Right, so shout out to you. So yeah. So anybody else, guys, before we get ready to close out, anybody on the panel? And them jokers probably sleeping right now.
No, man, just thank you, Oba. Thank you. It's a good
Anytime.
show.
Yeah. No, thank you, Oba. Anytime.
I think the market's gonna pull back some more for the rest of the week.
Yeah, and, again, for what it's worth, again, we are in a weakness. That's how you look at it. Anytime you had that kind of level of egregious pullback, you would think that the bounce should be somewhere in the mix, somewhere. But at this level of the extent of the news that caused it to pull back, this ain't just a one-off event. This is something that the market always been planning for, but just still the reality of it still carries so much weight. The market is using this as an excuse to kind of outflow some of that same energy that we had before the Christmas rally even popped off, because the market was showing weakness. They knew this day was coming. It's hard to still deal with it in the reality when it does happen. See, that's one thing Wall Street would not display.
Yeah, it wasn't priced in.
They would tell you that it was, but we knew that it wasn't, because you can't account for that. The fact that even when Oba Brandon posted that article about the repo market, we had the zero auctions the other day.
I seen that. Yeah,
it came out that we knew why, because the market had the Feds had to do a big liquidity if you want to say a reversal on the liquidity. They had to pull some of that money in. Why? Because they knew that not only was the tapering or the bond purchasing program, all the other stuff that was already out, they already had money out there that was also exacerbating inflation too, because all the extra liquidity they had out there, even the tune of $1.9 trillion, was also making inflation worse too. Why? Because that money didn't have value attached to it that it needed to. It was just sitting in the markets, fluffing up stocks and assets, causing inflation in the value of pricing what people out the market, commodities out of the market. Excessive fiat currency is a dilution, right, in terms of your purchasing power. And it was 1.9 trillion sitting in the repo operation, reverse repo auction out there. Any people know that this is the problem why inflation is the way it is. It's the Fed. It's that no supply chain. None of that stuff. It's been purely the Fed from day one. And they knew it. And they kept lying, saying it was transitory, it was other stuff. They just kept passing the buck. But we knew because we've been on top of this already. So now that, it's just coming back to hunt them now. They got to eat, eat that crow now. They're choking on it a little bit, and that's fine. Right? That's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that because we know how to trade both sides of the market. That's why I love it. We trade up, we trade down. Heck, we even try to trade sideways if it comes down to it. Right? So, that's just part of just being prepared to deal with it. And we're gonna, stay, poised and play it like we're supposed to, right? Repeat the trough, split the trend, play the energy. Right? I'm speaking to the day traders out there, of course, now, but it ain't hard to do that. When we kind of put up our little charts and show you exactly how to do that, right? And just real quick on a rough estimate to do this real quick because we have a couple new people out there who may be like, what is this brother talking about? I wrote a song about it. Here it go. So really quick, I'm just do one really quick here. Let's just say we do the top of this value there really quick. Like really quick. We're talking about when we say split the trend, right? Let's do this here. Let's clone it. Let's take this line. Let's come, bring it down to the gap because that's going to be your nearest value because that's what we bounced off of recently here in this channel, even though it came down below it here. But I'm going to just use the gap. Now you got a window here, right? You got a channel here that you start to build a grid line, a guideline to figure out exactly how to move at or around these particular places of interest on this particular asset, right? So the midline will be somewhere, even though it's probably going to be closer up here, but we're going to use this block here because it's a big candle there. That's a big candle. This is a big candle, right? This one here kind of flip that inside of it here. It kind of trended at around the end right here when it broke out above that 20-day moving average there, that nexus point there. We use that as the midpoint. Now, even though it may not be 100% accurate to, equally mid to high, but we're using it because, the inorganic value of the stock movement, right? So in this perspective, that's your what? Your top and your bottom, right? So really quick here. I'm going to get ready to get off here. There's your resistance, obviously clear as day. All right. Everything below this 20-day moving average here, obviously clear as day, right? On down to that gap closure down there or that value of what resistance or support's going to be that it hit before down here. Clear as day. So now you just playing, here's your plus, here's your minus, right? Of course, it's just your bull bear, right? Everything above that midline is potential positive. Now, do you want to buy in the middle, the reverse way back to the upside? When you potentially could probably get it to come down maybe close to that or close to this bottom here, the bounce helps you mitigate your risk better, the bounce potentially higher if it does. That's how you mitigate the value of the risk by putting the market into a box. I call it the kill box, right? Tell them about the kill box, boss. Right? You can make better decisions when you learn how to slow the market down. This is what you call Neo in the Matrix moment. You slow the market down, not rocket science, guys. You see the price action. It's detailed in the value of the candles and the price action that's shown here, rendered. Now you get more intricate, you can split it down even more. You say, well, if you want to be a real technical, same way people put up Fibonacci retracement bands and they use, even short-term Elliott waves, all that stuff like that. It's the same kind of reality. Here, you're just taking the market and doing the same thing in a sense. Dumbing it down, right? Let me take this line here. Come on, thing. All right, and use that same level earlier today. Well, not earlier today, but just in general today. To kind of play it at around that point there, right? That's another midpoint within that bigger channel. And you can do this, on and on and on. Then you just put the market in a lot of different micro bands. Before you know it, look, you got, man, look, you doing it. Hold on, this thing here, and there it is. Okay. And it's the same reality, right? It's the same reality in that regard. So now you got subsectors of bigger and lower subsets. So now you got a tighter subsector here, a tighter one here to this line, and you can play this in this to even what the option may look like for the prices, right? Now I'm not saying it's going to pull all the way back to 900 tomorrow, like 9, 10, but I'm just showing you the windows or the micro windows within this this space after hitting resistance at this point here. How you can potentially trade this, if you trade in it, of course, and have a more lucid picture of the guidelines or the guardrails if you're playing bumper bowler, right? A bumper pool or something, whatever. You can see it a little bit better. Does it make sense, guys? I mean, that's how you do this. Literally, that's how you do it. You slow it down. You can kill all the noise in the market by putting training wheels on it. Right? So you want to go half on the baby with Elon over here? There you go. Put some brakes on that thing. Right. So again, not hard. You'll see over time, the more you play with this stuff and do this stuff, it'll make more sense and see how the market is tracking these kind of levels. Why? Because you can also back test it by going to the options market, the flow charts, and checking where the money option contracts may be hiding at, meaning at or around certain pivot points, like we just looked at. It'll show you. Could make this stuff up. All right. That's why I love this stuff. Love it. All right, so that's it. So that's Tesla there. All right, so yeah. So any other last words, guys, before we get out of here? We done made it past the midnight hour.
Right, burning that midnight oil.
You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about both ends of the candle.
Just thank you again for doing this. I did have a request. Can we do another video for SPACs?
We can bring it dust that one off the shelf again, because they're getting hit across the head right now because of the SEC and all that. But them joker back right now, boy. Woo. And rightfully so, because a lot of them got ahead of themselves. Meaning, like, with some of them just didn't really have a a real solid perspective, and so they trying to crack down on some of them, using it for all the more wrong reasons to come to market to kind of access capital from investors and stuff, right? And so, because even crazy, you look stocks like space, right? It had a very promising value, right? The idea, right? Of course, Elon took the next level, but Richard Branson and Chamath, of course, I like Chamath, but they killed space because they were selling it at the premium prices, really, spitting in shareholders, face, thinking that they really had something. And it just made it obvious that they was using it as a cash cow to cash out. Like, couldn't make this stuff up, right? Went through all that reverse merger SPAC stuff and brouhaha this, and look what the stock did. Look at this. Got to be careful, bro. This thing been this price since March 2020. Basically down in the COVID lows. It just been giving up all this gain, all the way from up here from $57, $58 a share, all the way down here to $12 a share. Just continuously lower highs. I mean, perfect lower highs too. Not even a fight, right? It wasn't even a fight. Look at that. See, this stuff I'd be looking at. I'm like, yep, I see what's going on here. Yep. Not hard to draw the pivots here. It is not hard to do the pivots on this thing. Hold up, let me get this thing out of the way. It ain't hard. Look at this here. All the way down on the daily chart. Look at the lower highs. If these things ain't defined, boy, like somebody trading this thing like a robot. You see it? Look at him. See? These people charlatans, bro. Right? Anyway they can get a buck, you get a buck. Right? Anyway they can get them a buck, they getting the buck. This thing been oversold. So look at the RSI. Bleeding. Way down here below 30. Touching 30. Below 30. Below 30. Touching 30. I mean, every little pop gets sold into. Every pop gets sold into. And that's why I even go way back here and even show the top way up here. I didn't even go that far. I just show you at or around the 200-day moving out. When it lost the 200-day moving out on the daily, it just been getting beat up everywhere, all the way back down. See, these are the people who made it bad for a lot of other people who really have solid, potential good business plans and models. The market like that, though, it's frothy, it gets saturated, but that's the whole part about sink or swim. Either you're going to have to be able to barbecue or you're going to mildew and the market going to get you out of here. So actually, count it all, what they say, count it all, Joe. The market got it, it cleaned up itself at some point on its own sometimes. So stocks like this, yeah. So until they can really show some sales and get some of these actors, A-list celebrities that want to ride their little plane up into the strata, until that happen, yeah, the market is going to keep bleeding it. But when you start seeing them people getting on the max jet, then you say, okay, I might think about possibly catching a little bounce here. Look at all the red on the squeeze momentum. It's crazy. I don't need to pull up the green. I just need to keep it red for a reason because it's just been selling out. Ain't no green in there really. It's all been selling. It's just more of an indication of exactly what we talked about. So yeah. So we'll dust the SPAC thing off again and go in on that, because they probably need to have that conversation right now, because a lot of people are out there in some of these dirty ones, and they just get like, they just came, what happened, bro? Yeah, this what happened. Stock was trash. You know what I'm saying? Start out with a good plan, good thesis, and the you know, the main people that are supposed to be behind the project, they abandoned ship. What do you want? You know, I was like, what else can you say at that point? Right? The people that's supposed to tell you that, you know, they got it in control, they abandoning the ship and selling stock. They go fund, you know, I don't know, other stuff, silly stuff. You know, so they ain't showing that they got, you know, they all in their hearts in it. So why should you, right? You know, just observation. Right? So yeah, we're going on that again. So no problem. We already own it. All right. So anybody else real quick on the way out the door? I think our brother David probably asleep. You know, brother Chris, they're late. So great little conversation today, guys. Hope you guys benefited from, you know, from the YouTube side, the Twitter side, and the Facebook side where we went live as well. Again, we appreciate your patronage as always. We love what's going on, Oba Marquise. We see you came in the building. Right, you up there burning me that door as always. I see you. What's going on, family? Thor Lauer, Russian family in there too, right? There Russians in there. Major Samuel, all that. Donald Howard. You know, I don't know. Hey, shout out, right? Shout out. I'm just gonna say shout out. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. Everybody came through today. You know, as we always say, you know, again, you know, it ain't nothing but, you know, and then it ain't nothing but a thing, right? If you have an interest, you'll get what you need from it. You know, stay hungry, right? Stay humble, and I think, you know, for what it's worth, you know, platforms like this and many others, where you find people who are genuine about wanting to share this, you'll find value in it, because in the morning we're not selling you anything. We don't own the stock market. You know, I do have personal, you know, mentorship stuff that I do, of course, but it's price based at $1 a day, so ain't like you trying to get rich off you there. And we just want people to get excited about this opportunity, right? We're trying to help you unpack it, you know, in the interim of you know, figuring out how to, you know, go from a consumer to a better investor, right? So, you know, we all in on the family value of it, is my point. So we implore you to learn more, challenge yourself more. Don't be afraid to read, you know, and go to Google and actually plug in some of them questions and find those answers, right? Because that's what's gonna make you a better trader, right? Go explore, go be curious, right? And I think from there you'll see the benefit. All right. So that's it, guys. I ain't got nothing else. I'm geared to get out of here. Right. Get me in the shower, get in the bed. We'll probably maybe do a little back end scout if I, you know, get in the sheets here, you know, but the market pretty much already in cruise control. Far as the eating, ain't never really got to look at. You know, I might you know, set my alarm clock for 2 a.m. to see what the London session gonna do, but for the most part, the future market is still down. The Dow down about 0.26%, SP 500 or the US 500 is down 0.37%. This is in addition to what it did today, actually. So that's exacerbating the move earlier. The tech is down 0.53%. It's the biggest loser right now in the after hour session, obviously, right? Obviously, because the 10-year yield is ripping. So tech is definitely getting taken to the woodshed. Small cap, Russell is down definitely 0.90%. It's bigger, obviously, because small cap is also a mixture of value plays and just a lot of frothy meme stocks. So the meme stocks have been getting taken to the woodshed lately, like AMC, GameStop got beat up today, like they should have, right? I know some people might be apes out there watching, but that's just the reality, right? If you're not going to say that it's not about a fundamental story, then you can't brag about, you know, Spider-Man box office numbers and all that stuff, right? Let it just be a pure play of you own it like an NFT. You own the stock like an NFT. That's it, because there ain't no fundamental story to really hang your hat on, because they got a big debt load, and you know the virus is ripping, and movie theaters ain't making nowhere near the money they made even before, you know, the virus. And it was hurting then. That's what's crazy about it. People fail to realize that movie theater was hurting before coronavirus kicked off. They were losing money already. This just made it worse. So yeah, it's a novelty stock. I just leave it at that. I'm just being honest. I'm just gonna be honest. But that's it. So all right, guys, let me get out of here, guys. So I hope y'all guys enjoyed it. Thank y'all again, everybody on the YouTube side, everybody on Twitter, Facebook. Thank y'all for tuning in, patronizing us with a like, a share, and subscribe if you're new. If you do want to contribute, right? This me, what they call anti-hustling, right? I do have a cash app down there if you want to contribute. You know, Cash App African Emporium. We appreciate any and everything, whatever, right? So hope you guys are ready for tomorrow. I know I am, and I'm gonna get me a little rest so I can be up early, so I can, further, try to take it to the market, right? Take it to the man, right? Take it to the man, right? All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, right? So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and we're gonna leave on the video that we came in with, right? Sometime when this, it get a little rough out there, you gotta, show you just how solid you are, right? See if you really about that life and see that you are a clutch kind of trader, right? So with that being said, guys, let's run some of that.
Peace, power, and profit, family.
Peace, power, and profit, family. Peace to the family.
The bar raising, we keep moving it up. Ain't no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I got faith restored, why you pushing the brakes? I ain't full of myself, boy, I'm full of mistakes. I came from humble and roots, I'm here to stand and deliver. Had no one gassing me up, except the man in the mirror. I used to work on my handles, and now it's handles of liquor. I write these songs in a dark room, the candle will flicker. I stay practicing heavy for when the game's on the line. It's like over and over, I run the plays in my mind. I'm a psycho, I'm taking my time. Rushing perfection is a dangerous crime. You gotta give it and take it. That's what you do till you make it. I had to roll with the punches and take the hits from the flagrants. I'm saying the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was falling, had me stalling. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line. I know I operate from a higher place. Wait, some decisions don't try a race. I'm doing what I can to fuel the flame like a fireplace. To make a bunch of money, buy my mama a fireplace. We make incredible songs to celebrate and get mad lit. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I'm like Brad Pitt. My homies say I live a life, yeah, just a tad bit. Learning how to move in this rap shit. I told them that the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line. I know.
Everything is twofold. What's joy is pain on the other hand. And what happens when the one that you love is the main cause of your suffering? I need you like I need air to breathe. I need you to save me from me. I'm caught in your wave, I'm drifting away. I need you to save me. Please don't let me drown. 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 Whoa. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. You need me like you need air to breathe. You want me to save you from me. I know that you're trapped inside this wave. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from me? I can't see you drown. 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 Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. It's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. I can't breathe. I need to get some air, but it's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. You can't breathe and you just need some air. Yeah. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe.
Yeah. Ow! Yeah. Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, job that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground and the cards is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Your offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big, that's the only way to live. Gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big. That's the only way to live. Come on. Yeah, come on.
All right, guys. So that's it. So we get on out of here, guys. Y'all enjoy your rest of your evening. Thank y'all for tuning in as always. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully I get a chance to go live tomorrow. Depends on, how my schedule looks like. Hope I'm gonna try to put a conscious effort to do so. So if you see me, again, going live, or if you're able to kind of catch the notification or whatever, we welcome to, you're welcome to join us as always. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the panels, everybody that came through this evening. Everybody contributed as always. Again, can't say that enough. Can't thank you enough. Sincerely. We appreciate it a million, right? So again, get some rest, guys, and we see you guys first thing tomorrow. Well, today in the markets, right? So shout out to everybody. Thank you to YouTube. Thank you, Twitter again. Thank you, Facebook. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night.